Tuesdays with Scotty are not the opinions of Scotty White, but the opinions of the lizard people who secretly rule this planet. Thank you.
You're listening to the Mopcast Network.
Wonderful town, wonderful people, places to go, things to see. My love is Mobile, that's my wonderful town. Beautiful homes, schools and churches, entertainment, places to shop. My heart's in Mobile, that's my wonderful town.
Mopcast Network presents
Live from Stupid Mop Studios, located in Mobile, Alabama.
It's Tuesdays with Scotty.
This is the podcast about whatever the hell Scotty wants to talk about.
From pop culture to food, movies, comics, or games.
Literally whatever the hell Scotty wants to talk about.
If you don't like it,
get your own podcast.
Now here's your host, your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty.
It's Tuesday. I'm Scotty. It's Tuesdays with Scotty. We're going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Today we have a guest. I have a friend, Jared Budlong, who is running for governor in this great state of Alabama where we're located. He may be crazy because I don't know sane people who would run for governor. Caleb, would you run for governor?
No.
I wouldn't either.
But I also know nothing. I feel like I don't know enough to run for governor.
You don't feel like you're qualified.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm qualified. Jared's probably qualified.
Yeah.
Jared has a big heart. He really cares about what's going on in this state. And which is a good thing because we need people like Jared because unfortunately like me, I'm a bit apathetic about politics anyway. I mean, there's things I care about. And in the interview, you hear what I care about. So, you may change your political view of me by the end of the show. Whatever. It's my show. If you don't like this one, we have two others you can enjoy at the moment. So there's that. So, yeah, we're going to enjoy Jared in just a little bit. But Caleb and I are going to talk about some stuff. Caleb, you're young.
I am.
In your youth, you watched a lot of cartoons. I watched a lot of cartoons, right?
Yep. I still watch cartoons.
I still watch cartoons too. Have you watched Infinity Train?
I've seen the pilot, and I really want to watch the rest of it.
So Kisa, a friend of me and the podcast, has gotten me watching Infinity Train, and I like it. We're not done with the first season. Mm-hmm. We're gonna finish it probably after this. So by the time this actually airs, I'll probably move farther in the show. It is weird.
Oh yeah,
it is weird. But the thing I want to talk about the Infinity Train real quick is that the main protagonist in the first season is named Tulip.
Yeah.
Who the hell names their child Tulip? I'm only 6 episodes in. The reason why could be in those last 6 episodes of why her parents named her Tulip.
Might be the same reason parents name their kids after any flower.
Tulip's a weird flower. Like, I get Daisy.
What about Rose?
I get Rose and Daisy. I don't mean to name shame, but I'm doing it because Tulip is not a real person. So her feelings can't be hurt.
Yeah.
It's a weird name. I think they even mention it. But here's what's weird about the show, too. One of the antagonists is a cat, and it's voiced by Captain Janeway.
Mm-hmm.
So Kate Mulgrew from Voyager and Star Trek Prodigy, which I've only watched the pilot of that, and I liked, and I don't know why I haven't jumped on. Maybe by the time this airs, I'll have jumped on Prodigy.
Prodigy is the one that Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon, the cartoon. It's really interesting, and I don't know why I didn't pick it back up. I don't know. It's weird, but anyway.
Yeah, I still have to catch up on Discovery, watch Picard, and.
Oh, I don't watch Picard yet either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3 episodes in Picard as of this, and at this time point, Scotty's enjoying those two.
Yeah,
the 2 of the 3 he really liked. Last week's was really crazy and fun.
And Star Trek's just never. It's becoming the big thing because they got Strange New Worlds coming, and then
Strange New Worlds is coming.
I mean, they're making them big bucks.
You hear about the Strange New World season 2? They've already got a season 2. And the first season not even got out, but they got season 2. They're casting Captain Kirk for that, or a young Kirk.
Yeah.
for that to go hang out with young Spock, I guess.
Yeah, because it's going to focus around Pike, specifically the Pike we've seen in Discovery.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I like that Pike.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that season, but I liked Pike in it. So.
And then speaking of things that have kind of been renewed, Scream is getting a 6 film.
I haven't seen 5, but it's on Paramount. Right?
And they've already announced
seen 4.
they've already announced next year, I think, is when it's coming out.
Of
which
course
means
it is. They're easy to film. You can film they're like a beach blanket bingo movie. You can make them in 5 days.
Yeah, Scream 6, 2023.
Oh, look at that. Scream 6. Screamier.
Yeah. But yeah.
So to be like Scream 7 would be ice cream because
my problem is
you scream, we all scream.
Yeah. My problem is I like the Scream franchise, but now I don't know where they can go because they've done all the style.
So you've seen the new one, right?
Yes.
How do you like it?
I like it a lot. It fits the style of Scream. You can tell they knew what they were doing.
So in the 5, how does it rank?
So 3 is still my favorite.
Okay.
I put this one.
I've only seen the first 2.
Yeah.
And I kind of I should watch the other Screams. I really should. And I just haven't.
They're a good time.
Yeah. It's really effort.
They're a good time. I'd probably put 5 above 4. Once again, it's me. It's not because 4 is bad.
Right.
It's just 5.
I got you.
5 was more enjoyable.
I got you.
My issue now is where do they go? Because they've done, as far as I can think, every major type of point that you can make about specifically the slasher franchise.
Well, they could do like New Nightmare style and make it like a meta thing, a movie within a movie.
Well, that they already have the movie within a movie.
Oh, they've already done that?
They haven't made a movie within a movie, but they have the movie within a movie. And in 3, they actually 3, they go to they go onto the set of.
All right, well, never mind. See, I haven't seen 3.
Yeah,
I
they
saw
go
the first 2.
Yeah, 3 they actually go on set
when you were a small infant, probably.
Yeah, probably. And then because they've done the just traditional slasher, because that's one. They've done the what about a slasher sequel? What happens in a slasher trilogy? What happens in a slasher reboot? What happens in a slasher whatever you can
soft reboot?
Yes, they call it a requel. It's a reboot sequel.
So, but they haven't done the prequel, right? They haven't done a prequel.
And they haven't gone to space yet. That's a big thing in slashers.
So we need like Scream in 1849.
Yeah.
And then we need one in space.
Yeah.
And then we need a multiverse of Screams.
Yeah. Maybe Slash in the Hood,
Oh, Slash in the Hood, yeah. We could change the whole genre.
Yeah. Kind of be like Leprechaun. Yeah.
Yeah. But back to cartoons.
Yeah, back to cartoons.
Because did you watch Doug?
Oh yeah.
It had a great theme song. Who was Doug? Wasn't Jim Cummings Doug?
I can look that up.
I thought maybe. See, somebody like that. Or Billy West?
Billy, that actually sounds correct. Billy West.
Was Billy West?
But I will double check.
Because we only want the facts, or at least the facts the internet provides for us for the show.
It was
Just give me a spray.
Yeah, it was Billy West, and he was also Roger, the bully.
He was Roger the bully. Yeah.
So he was bullying himself.
So I saw an image from Twitter for. Do you remember? You made me too young for this. When I was a kid, Tiger Electronics made handheld video games.
Mm-hmm.
And by video games, that's a light.
No.
That's a light word. They're just kind of LCD images that you could kind of quasi control on a button,
and they had the squiggle lines to
squiggle
represent your character.
Exactly, and there was a colorful background or a background of the arena that you were participating in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll show this picture now of this one. So it's a Doug game, and so I was like, "Oh, Doug is cool. I like that." And then I noticed the 2 buttons for it. One of them says faster.
Yep.
And the other one says Doug. So I'm assuming faster means running faster.
Yes. Or I guess riding his skateboard faster.
Faster or whatever, moving faster.
Which I don't usually think of Doug and skateboards, but
whatever. However, what does the Doug button do? I mean, is that his power? His power is just a Doug?
Is that he's got a Dougie.
I just got a Dougie. I saw that and I was like, well, I have to shoot. That's shareable on the show. I have to talk about Doug.
Yeah.
So he dugs. I don't know why he dugs. I want to talk about weird anxieties.
Okay.
Real quick. 'Cause I had one today, and I had a weird, irrational thought, and then I thought about my behavior during it, and I do this all the time. I don't know about you, but when I am getting gas at the gas pump, and if there's a car in line to get fuel after me, I don't fill up my tank. Which is weird. And do you know why I don't fill up the tank?
I'm curious now.
Because I think it takes too long, and I want the people behind me to have a turn. Because I feel like they're secretly judging me.
Yeah.
Like, why is this guy taking so much time?
I'm kind of that way about crossing like the street. Like when, like if a car's waiting on you,
right,
and like you have the crosswalk, I will speed up,
right,
because I'm like, oh well, they're being nice enough to let me cross. Let me not take my time.
I don't know why I just have this. It's just I was getting gas today, and the it's Saturday, and all the pumps were busy. And I managed to find one. I waited on to get to it, and I don't think anything of the guy pumping the gas in front of me. But when I'm pumping the gas, the people behind me, I'm just like, yeah, I should not hurry up and waste their time. I mean, I have a right to fill up the tank, and they're always telling me not to.
Yeah,
but I'm like, how much gas is enough to get me to the next time I need to get gas?
Yeah.
And so I got to a reasonable level, which probably would have been like, if I waited another minute, I could fill up, but I still like think I'm saving them time. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I have like deep anxiety about that. It's the weirdest thing to have anxiety about.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I don't know. But you know what will make me happy?
What's that?
Hats. I don't wear hats. Do you wear hats? Are you a hat guy?
Sometimes. It's been a while since I've worn one.
What kind of hat are you? Are you a ball cap guy?
Ball cap. Yeah, because I've got that X-Men cap.
That's right. You do have the X-Men cap.
And then I've got a few other caps. I got an A&W.
I am jealous of hats and people who can wear hats because I feel like I have a bulbous head. And so hats on me, for me, like they probably look fine to everyone else in the world. But again, you know how you have that, how I perceive things.
Yep.
So when I look like when I'm wearing the hat, it just makes my head look like no hat fits me. Like you'll get a free, like, here's a free ball cap. And like, I have to stretch it all the way to the end to make it fit my bulbous noggin. And so, look, my family has big heads. It's just the way it is. And I also have, thick hair. So there's that too, especially when it was long. It was, I don't know. But, however, sometimes hats make me feel good. And I stumbled upon this fellow on Twitter. He has a TikTok, and it's a fellow who really likes hats. And you can follow him on TikTok. He's Greedy Peasant, and definitely follow him. I did because I want him to bring joy to everybody. But I wanted to share this clip of him and his hats with everybody. And I apologize if you're listening to this via audio. I will post a link to the video in the show notes, because you should watch him and his hats.
Definitely.
But if you're watching it on YouTube, which you can, definitely check it out. So we're going to watch that guy.
Hi, everyone. During the plague, I bought a lot of hats in an attempt to make myself feel better, and it really did work. But I thought today is a great opportunity for me to show you some of my collection. All of the hats we're going to talk about today are from the same company called San Yorgos. And this is not an ad. They don't know that I exist, but I have really bought a lot of hats from them. I am going to put my hair up in pin curls because the hats tend to fit better that way. And then I'll be right back. We're going to start off strong with this first hat, which I just love. I added these tassels, of course. Gorgeous. This is one of my favorite shapes of hats because it fits on the noggin really well. So this is the hat, and then I just added this ruffle, and really that's the easy part. And I have a little confession to make. I bought two of this exact same hat. So one has the ruffle, and then one has the tassel, and I don't even know why I did it. This is that same hat, but in tan. I added these horns. I sewed them on crooked, but I think they still make a statement. This is one of their pillbox styles, which I love. This actually used to be a medieval spider peasant hat, but he got a different hat. We had to turn off the green curtain effect for this one, but I think it is worth it. This is $13.50, and it's this cute little green straw hat. I don't even know if I'm wearing it right. This is how it looks on one side, and then this is how it is on the other. I love it. It really gives me height, which I need. This hat is currently out of stock, but when they have it back, it's only $15. I added these tassels to it, and our lives have never been the same. For a medieval spider peasant, we use that same dome felt hat, and then I just stretch the mask over the hat, and it really seems to do well. And I can actually see. You may have noticed that I've gotten a little obsessed with this $1.50 crocheted beret. I think it is so nice and it's very comfortable. This is another one of those dome hats, but this one you might be able to tell I added some horns to it. That's separate. It doesn't come with the horns. And I just felt like it needed it. I believe they call this one the Juliet cap. It's very lightweight. I bought 2 of them, and I use one as the base of my veil. This straw hat is $18, and I just think it is the sportiest little thing. I should add a tassel. This is our final hat for today, and it's one of my favorite. I just love the shape. For me, it's giving me hairdo. Like the hair's been parted, and it's like, woo! Or it's like hills, little trees. Wouldn't that be nice? Thank you, everyone, for going on this journey with me. This was a cry for help.
Wasn't he great?
Yeah.
What a great...
It's so much fun.
Hey, because what surprises me is that he's very... Here's what I love about this fella, is that I believe he's earnest and real. I don't think
you can tell that just having a good time,
right? But sometimes you can on TikTok, people are doing things for a joke. I generally want to believe this guy loves these hats.
I mean, I think so because that's a lot of effort to go through. Like, because I assume that he made these outfits. Like that's like
right.
Like, you don't just make these outfits to go with those hats.
He bought hats and then added things to these hats, and then shared it with the world. But what floored me like made me laugh because it's funny. I think he knows it's funny.
Yeah.
But like I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing with him. I think it made me feel good to see. God, he looks so damn earnest and joyful. But the outfits, he had an outfit for every hat.
Yep, every single one.
I was just like,
Now, which one's your favorite outfit?
Oh, I like the last one with horns where he said the horns didn't come up with this one. The horns don't come with this one.
That one's a good one.
But like any of us are questioning that the horns came with this hat.
That's a good one, although the Spider-Man one is up there.
The Spider Peasant was fantastic. Why isn't he in the next Doctor Strange movie?
Yeah,
he suddenly Spider Peasant. I think he should be. I think he should be, or at least Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, stands alongside Andrew Garfield and
absolutely. I'm all for that.
Yep.
I'm definitely all for that. I should have said this at the top of the show, but I forgot to. But hey, you should listen to us. If you listen to us on any podcast app, which you can, Spotify, Google, or the rest of them, you can rate us and write a description of how much you like the show. That would help. Rate and review it. It's great. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tuesdays with Scotty and talk to me and tell me what you want to see on the show. Tell me how you like the show. And because I'm on it and we'll talk about it. Caleb might be on it too. He might talk to you. Who knows? I don't know. And then you can look at us on YouTube at youtube.com/Mopcast Network and see all our shows, including this one. And so we're going to cut to my interview with Jared and maybe learn something. I did. It was fun. Yeah.
There are many spray deodorants for families who don't do much, but active families need active protection. Active families need new Arid Action Spray, the new spray deodorant that gives you deodorant protection that won't wear out all through your active day. Just one spray of new Arid Action Spray gives you 1, 2, 3 action deodorants in every spray for protection that won't wear out. Won't wear out during anxious moments. Won't wear out all day. Won't wear out when you need protection the most. Remember, some families can use any spray, but your active family needs more active protection. So protect them with new Arid Action Spray for deodorant protection that won't wear out.
Yep.
So I'm here with Jared Budlong, who is a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other for years. And he recently admitted something to me personally that
I'm not ashamed to say out loud.
I'm a little shocked, and he's agreed to talk to it about us today. This I would call this an important life step.
Yeah,
perhaps a change in your life.
Yeah.
Something something you truly believe in.
Something that I had to talk to my wife and my kids about before I made it public.
So and you haven't done many interviews?
No, not to this day. I have not.
So I'll let you, when you're comfortable, tell everybody what you told me.
My name is Jared, and I'm running for the position of governor in Alabama as an independent.
2 questions.
Yep.
1, is this a joke?
No, 100% not a joke.
2, are you crazy?
A bit. I keep hearing that regularly from pretty much everybody I tell.
So what same person decides that they want to run for governor outside of people that have a shit ton of money,
mm-hmm.
Or have been acclimated to politics for their entire career?
Any bit more than I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but it's seen as, in every state, especially our state, it's a stepping stone. I've been a senator, I've been a mayor,
right.
I'm going to be governor.
Mm-hmm.
And you have none of that.
Nope.
Which I'm not knocking.
Yeah,
we got to be honest.
Yeah, we're confirming. No previous political experience.
So
for me,
what's the moment that you wake up and say, "I'm going to run for governor"?
That was a different moment than waking up and knowing I wanted to run for something. That moment happened in October of 2021 when our current governor decided, well, the whole legislature, because she just approved it, but they approved spending some of our COVID relief funds on building new prisons.
Yes.
And that was the moment that I woke up and said, it's worse than I thought, and started digging into, the various bills, the overwhelming number of bills that are being proposed in our legislature, and realizing that I don't agree with most of them. But the worst part was that I didn't find any candidates who aligned with how I feel. So I started looking into ways I could give back to the community and try to make those stepping stones. And none of the ones that were currently up for election resonated with things that I felt comfortable doing. So instead of waiting, I'm running for governor.
Again, crazy.
Yeah, a bit.
Like I said, I've known you for a very, very long time. And so when those were my 2 first thoughts, literally when I saw the message, "Hey, I'm running for governor." Is this a joke?
Is Jared drunk? And then, is he it's not April 1st.
Right. So, cause people joke about it all the time. It's like, I'm going to run for, or they get mad about something and they run something. This is genuine. I believe you want to run for governor. You have, and we talked a little bit of this off mic, and I want everyone to understand how much this deck is stacked against you.
Yeah.
It's
so
crazy how hard they make it for the average citizen who, like you, want to do right to run to serve their citizenry, serve their state.
Yeah. So the code of Alabama that governs getting yourself on the ballot was written at least written at first in 1975 and has been updated and amended because that's how things work. But it was written in 75, and they require a third of the electorate to sign a petition saying they think you should be on the ballot. And I don't I don't disagree with that as a premise. Like, I get that we shouldn't have 3,000 people on the ballot because that's overwhelming for people on the voting day, right? If you come in and your ballot has 3,000 people running for governor, like, how would you make that decision? So some type of cutoff, completely understand. The frustrating part is that those 52,000 signatures, give or take, can only be done in paper form because 1975. The official documentation doesn't actually say it has to be paper. But when I reached out to the Secretary of State and their legal team, they said, we've never done digital. Don't send in digital. It will probably be disqualified. And I asked why, and they couldn't give me a good reason. They just said, we haven't done it, and we can't read the code to allow digital signatures, so don't do it.
So why do you think that's the case? Just because do you think it's like the state? I mean, I've lived in Alabama most of my life, and when I did was West Virginia when I went to college,
right?
And so in 44 years, let's say 40 of it I've been here,
right,
give or take. And this state is known for technology. We make rockets.
Yep.
But when it comes to technology, like, to the state level, we're kind of backwards.
Yeah.
And archaic in a lot of our thinking.
So for better or worse, I have the ability to see from other people's perspective. I think it's a good thing. Sometimes it hinders me because I can give people too much credit, but I can see from their perspective. They've never done digital before, so they don't know how it would pan out. So like if they truly haven't been sent digital signatures in the past, I can see from a legal perspective them saying, hey, we've never accepted digital before. We have no idea if that would work. And in their head, they would probably get thrown out. So like I can see that. The pessimistic side of me is it's not been updated since 1975 to hinder other people from applying or from putting themselves on the ballot.
Well, I mean, you've got that too. We're also in the age of where a good portion of this country do not believe the presidential election was valid because of voting error frauds and all that stuff, which whatever you believe, I tend to believe a different way.
Right.
I mean, I think we're dumb enough to vote whoever we voted in and dumb enough to to put the other guy on the ballot too.
Right.
So, I mean,
yeah, I don't, nothing that if we believe in this system that we have, our system has looked into it, meaning, the courts that we trust have looked into it and not found any significant voter fraud or interference is probably a good word for it. So, are there people that try to influence the election through voter fraud? Sure. The ones that have been found aren't on this or on the same side of the ones complaining about voter fraud.
So do you think the worry is also that, if we allow digital signatures, Skynet can create as many signatures it needs? I don't think that I can make a program to make enough signatures to get what I need.
So the way the law is written, the state reserves the right to review every signature and compare it to the signature they have on file. So
which would be digital.
That's a really good point, Scotty.
I bet you one you've made.
Yeah.
Which would be digital.
Yeah. I'm still looking into it, but somebody pointed out a document from the Alabama Secretary of State website, I believe, that lays out how you can fill out some of their paperwork digitally. And it's that extra. We're looking into it. Anyway, so the ballotician, if I pull one out, that's blank, so we don't give people's information on an interview. So you have to put in first name, last name, your date of birth, address, city, and then your signature. And as I understand it, they care the most about this and will use this information to look up what that should look like. So the signature is the thing they care about. The rest of the info is what they use to verify the signature.
I just know something, and like I said, I've never done this process, and you may not even know this answer, but this document says specifically Alabama ballot access petition for independent candidates. Is there an Alabama ballot access petition for Democrats?
No, because Democrats are by default, and Republicans are by default.
So they get
third party is another one. So if
Okay.
you wanted your party to be on the ballot, you would do a different petition.
Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
There's currently the Libertarian Party is currently trying to do the same thing I am.
Okay.
And they, from what they say, they have at least that's at the time of this recording,
Right.
They have enough signatures to meet the qualifications, not knowing if they will be invalidated, but they've got more than the 50,000 or 52,000 signatures.
I wonder how many people are just trying to invalidate it to invalidate.
That's a concern for sure.
That is definitely a concern because I don't trust anything. I hate to be this negative about this, but I just don't trust anything. It's just
so
especially when it comes to the government.
So when it comes to the digital signatures, that's the frustrating part for me. Is in theory you could ask questions by tapping into the right database to verify an identity on top of having a signature, just like you do when you go check your credit report and they're like, hey, what address matches a history and an address you've lived at in the past, right?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. So you have to hit all those questions before they can say you are who you say you are. Like, let's do that and then take a digital signature as the last little, sure, you guys want to look at the signature? Here it is. But like literally they answered all the questions. Like this is them. It's not a random person I met in Fairhope at the Fairhope Arts and Crafts Festival who said they're a citizen and wrote their name down. Like
Right.
I have to trust right now that these people actually live in our state.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Because you can't check IDs.
Like, I mean, I guess I could, but I'm like, it's already tough asking for a signature.
Right.
Like, hey man, can I see your ID? Can you hold it up and let me take a picture? Like, I just want to verify you are who you say you are.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough enough, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. I'm hoping to fill out enough paper signatures so that I don't have to fight this in court later.
Right.
That is the end result if I go digital. I have to assume.
Right.
Is that they'll invalidate it or say, hey, we're not going to accept it. And then I have to go, why? And they'll say, because. And then I say, cool, see you in court. And let's do this.
Right.
And I don't want to do that because it's a waste of money. Well, I shouldn't say it's a waste of money. It's money I don't want to spend.
Right. But you could usher in change and that's good. So.
Yeah. So
find a pro bono lawyer. There's got to be someone who watches the show. Can I help this guy out?
If you know a voting rights lawyer who knows about election law, specifically Alabama, get in touch because I would love to talk to you or them.
There might be someone out there who could help. You never know. We are on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
If someone's always might be interested.
Make sure to use the right hashtags and keywords. Right?
Absolutely.
I don't think you can do hashtags on you.
You can.
Yeah.
But not in the tags are just tags. They're not hashtags.
Yeah. And the tags don't really work.
No.
No, the tags are like, and they'll tell you because I tag all our videos every week, and it's like, they're a lot of times you can tag misspellings, and that helps.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's what I do, a lot of misspellings, and but you can do all kinds of stuff. But they're like, it's not really what they're looking for. It's like a tertiary or one after kind of layer. Most everything they want is in the description and the title
and the closed captions.
Yeah,
because if you do, this is getting way off subject, but it's fine.
No,
this is Tuesdays with Scotty.
Yeah, right. There's no subject.
It's interesting because if you do a search for something that has an instructional video, like you will get a video result, but not just a video result. You'll get a bookmark to the minute and second where they're talking about the thing that you want to know. So it's like, hey, how do I tie a Windsor knot for my my tie? And it's a YouTube series with 20 knots. It'll point you to the Windsor knot because they look into the closed captions and they're like, hey, Windsor knot, it's at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Watch here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more actually about content than it is the tags. The tags are helpful, but not. It's the similar thing with regular website SEO.
Chore for me when I do it. It's like, oh, I do this. Extra chore, but I don't know if it helps, but
it's not hurting.
No, it's not hurting.
Well, outside of the labor that it takes to think of them and put them in, but
it's just time. It's just time, and I'm already there. So
time is money, right?
Right, but again, I'm already there. So
yeah,
time is. If time was money, I'm losing a lot of both.
Yep.
So let's get to the meat of this.
Yeah.
You wake up. You want to run. You wake up. You see this problem where the legislature signed by Governor who, and I also disagree with this, using our COVID funds to build prisons. Now I understand. Look, I am for one of the few things I believe that in change is that I think prison reform is huge. I think the way we currently have prisons prison should be set up like other countries where I actually believe in rehabilitation instead of just retribution and revenge.
Instead of punishment.
Yep. And so, and I'm surprised that people are surprised that when you hold a bunch of human beings in terrible conditions, they don't come out
better.
Yeah. They come out worse
or the same and poorer.
Right. And so, and then you continue to harm the person because they've committed a crime. Well, like the idea of prison is that you pay your due.
That is what we've been told.
But if you believe in this country, that's one of the things that you paid your due.
Right.
You're a citizen again.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to it. But it's never that case.
No,
it's never. Your life is unless you have again affluence or some money.
If you have means, you can recover from that exit and re-entering as a citizen or
acclimating as a citizen.
No, there's a phrase for people who come out of prison, and I wrote it down, but I don't remember what it is.
That's fine.
It's fine. But becoming a citizen again, because in most places, when you're in prison, you are no longer a citizen.
Right.
You can't vote. You don't have normal rights.
And a lot of times, in most states, when you leave prison, you don't get voting rights back. You should.
You're supposed to, and legally, from a federal level, you're supposed to. Places like Florida have hidden it as best they can by implementing laws like, you have to pay all of your fines and fees before you get your voting rights back. And it's like, hey, by the way, you've been in prison for 10 years. You don't have a job, or if you do, you're going to pay 15 or 25 cents an hour.
Right.
And you owe, $10,000. So, by the way, when you get out, you're now you're marked with the mark of shame for having been a criminal.
Right.
So you're not going to get a good job unless you already had prerequisite.
Yeah, unless
experience.
You're Martha Stewart. That's a fine example because she did federal time.
Right.
And she got off easy, and she got out, and maybe she spun it and continued her career out of it.
Right.
So I mean,
so I actually think more people should be able to do that.
I agree. I agree.
You go in, it gets down to what the purpose of incarceration should be, and what everybody thinks it is going in, doing your time, and getting back out. The problem is we're not helping people get out of the situation that put them in prison in the first place. So we're not going to, I believe it's called root cause analysis, I think is the word, but it's like, hey, why did they end up there? Like, what was it? Like, let's say it was murder, like murder. Shouldn't do it. Yes. Okay. Well, why did they murder them? It was self-defense because, the person was attacking them or sexual assault, whatever it is. I don't know what's kosher to bring up, but trigger warning. Sorry. That situation, I'm not saying they shouldn't go to a place that is separated from society because they just murdered somebody. Like that requires some separation, but it's not for punishment. It should be for healing. Like they out of a fit of passion defended themselves and ended up ending a life. So in my head, like that requires therapy and healing, being stuck in a box.
But you also think our system is set up to see the fact that this was self-defense but it doesn't happen that way.
No.
Always. I mean,
I would say almost never.
Right. And then there's we could go in because our prison system is based on a extremely outdated 1600s Pennsylvania Puritan way that they did prisons.
So our modern prison system, not the jails, but the modern prison system, as I understand it, came about 1860s.
Yeah.
Really odd timing, let's say.
Right.
So, and that's when a lot of loitering laws and other.
Oh, we're talking Jim Crow, so we're talking later than that. So, well, because a lot of stuff happens after 1866, but I'm talking about the prison system itself. So the prison system, modern prisons start coming around that, but there's based on the. So Pennsylvania had these really draconian jails.
So jail and prison are two different things.
But they're the basis, the foundation,
the way they handle people coming in.
Right, the system,
Gotcha.
the system came out of this.
Gotcha. Okay.
Where they, That's where uniforms came from. They used to march prisoners in lockstep. So you put one hand on behind you. They kept you from sunlight. They blinded you. Like put bags over your head and stuff. Right. So you couldn't. You deprived you of sunlight. It's horrible. So this was like 1600s, 1700s. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like when the country's being founded, all that stuff gets kind of implemented into post Reconstruction, right? Reconstruction, post Reconstruction era. So kind of wait. I know too much about this stuff. It's terrible. I went on a deep dive about it back when in college, but again, because I believe in prison reform. There's two things there's a lot of things that I strongly believe, but two things, and I really get political, but this is my show. I get to be political, but there's things I strongly like. I think we need to take a little look at the 13th Amendment.
The one that most people that look like me are told that it abolished slavery,
but it doesn't.
Literally in the text.
In the text, it says we abolish prison, abolish slavery, except in prisons.
Yeah, did I say prisons? Anyway, slavery is abolished except for punishment as a crime when duly convicted.
Right. So it's like so you go to jail.
Yeah,
you can be a slave.
Yep,
and that's so to me. Are we the land of the free? As we're told,
I would say no.
I would say no either, but because we can't, because we have this 13th Amendment that was poorly worded at the beginning. I get the idea.
I don't know that it was poorly worded. I think it was worded that way on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That was intentional. There's no way that goes that far without being intentional.
No way. I'm not calling for the repeal of the 13th Amendment. I'm just like, hey, look, we should amend the part where we should be against slavery.
Yeah.
All forms.
100%. There are some states currently trying to do that. So Colorado did it a couple years ago. And in my process of running for governor, my original pitch was going to be, let's abolish slavery in the South for the first time. Guess what? Alabama abolished slavery in 1901. Technically. On paper. The Constitution from 1901 abolished slavery. Technically.
That makes sense.
No, they left it open with involuntary servitude. So we have that still. And if you put in enough potential to commit crime into law, then you can just become a lifelong involuntary servitude, which is close enough to slavery for me.
Right.
So I call it. So if you visit my website, I'm calling it modern day slavery because that's what it is. If you're going to bring people in, put them in a situation where they can't get out of the system realistically, and pay them, if anything, 25 to 75 cents an hour in Alabama, I'm calling it slavery.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. Like, that's close enough for me.
I
don't think we disagree, but there might be people watching this that do, and you can message me and we can chat about it. But
absolutely, message him.
Yeah,
message me too. I'll tell you how I feel.
You can, and he'll pass it on to me.
So human rights causes are big for you.
Yes.
What else should we know about you?
So I think a lot falls under human rights that people don't necessarily think about. So in my head, human rights is anything that lets a person continue to live and live a dignified life. So it's a wide scope. Some people don't agree with everything that I would have to say, but I think everybody should have the opportunity to live and not die because they're poor.
I agree.
So if you disagree, I hate that for you, because I don't want to be in that mental state.
Well, I mean, there's some people who say this is a Christian nation, and part of the Christian tenements is to care for the poor,
to sell everything you have,
right,
and take care of the poor,
right. So
yeah.
I think we have a poverty problem in the state.
Mm-hmm.
We have a food drought.
Yep.
Problem in the state. We have terrible access to register to vote, voting, because they changed it in 17. They redistricted they redistricted, and then they closed a bunch of offices so people couldn't get IDs. And they were like, "Well, we need IDs to vote."
Yeah.
Can't get them.
We happen to close a bunch of DMVs in some very impoverished areas, but we're still going to require IDs.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's like a gotcha question that people ask. Like, well, what do you feel about voter IDs? And I'm like, I'm not opposed to voter IDs, but I think we ought to give them to people if they're a citizen.
You're a citizen, right? See,
like we're going to make people pay for them.
At the end of the day,
that's the poll tax.
At the end of the day, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
Are you a citizen? Yes or no?
Yes.
You get all the rights.
Yeah. Yeah. You have the rights.
You get the rights. That's what this country's about. Right? We have them.
Yeah.
You get them.
Yeah.
And not like, oh well, I am a citizen, but I'm gay. Well, no, you get some. No, you're a citizen. You get the rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you get. I don't know why we're fighting for the rights. Because people are dumb.
It is in our country's DNA.
Absolutely.
To not want to give rights to everybody.
Right. No, because they feel it's taking away something from them. If we're all equal, then there's no such thing. I'm losing something.
Right.
I'm like, no. We're all gaining something. Right. We're all gaining.
Well, it's like, so one of the things that I'm passionate about will be better education for our state, because we're always in the bottom 5, it seems like. What's confusing to me is when people are opposed to free college, government paid for, whatever, however you want to, it's not actually free because somebody pays for it, but us giving college education to our citizens. People are all up in arms, like, you can't do that. That's, my money, blah, blah, blah. But like, they have no problem with K through 12.
Right.
And like, college is just an extension of the existing free education we offer people.
Because we're still on that cusp of the age where our parents, if our parents went to school, they paid their ways through school, and they did it with hard work. But again, school was like $6.
Yeah.
Right. And their house was like $12. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it was
not much.
Right. But you could have
you
could have a part-time job, get an apartment,
right,
and pay for school, come out with a decent career either in the public sector or in the private sector,
right, and
live a decent life. You can't do that now.
Right.
And it gets harder and harder every year. I mean, it is insane. Right now the housing market's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how anyone can buy a house right now.
I don't know.
I don't either. And it's,
I don't know enough about that market to speak.
No,
but
I'm just, again,
prices are soaring.
I'm not asking. I'm not accusing you.
No. I wanted to say something, but I'm not knowledgeable enough in it to say it. With
speculators buying everything up. It's usually how it's going in most of this country.
The only thing I am aware of is at least 3 months ago, Zillow, who is, if you aren't familiar, is one of the largest search engines for houses.
Absolutely.
Right. So they, by necessity, know what houses are available, what people are searching for, and where they're searching from.
Right.
Right. They have all that information. Well, there's another division of Zillow that buys houses. So they were buying houses in hot markets, buying up a bunch of them, waiting, and then selling one of them at a higher fee to raise the comps in the area. And then they would sell the others.
Right.
And like, if people want to flip homes, I wouldn't do it personally.
Right.
But if you want to do that as you want to fix it up a little bit and resell it, then you do your thing.
No, but again, capitalism, I believe in it, but it fails.
But the problem is when you have that's literally all they're doing is to resell it
right.
for more money, and you're keeping people from getting homes.
Right.
Like that. I can't.
I actually have. I know I'm not.
No.
Yeah, come on in.
Caleb, come in.
The unembodied voice.
So
they'll see producer Caleb before the show.
I know one of the bigger issues I've seen as well is that not just homes, not just homes, but trailers, like the places that are meant for the lower paying,
lower income.
Lower income.
Here's a place where you can afford to live.
Right.
But no, the rich white people are buying the trailers as well, and just buying them to flip them and making it double, triple the price.
Right.
And now these people who were like, well, I was going to buy that, but now I got the rug pulled out from under me because somebody up bought it.
Yeah. I was looking at, because of this is not Alabama related anymore, but well, I mean, that is
again. Tuesdays with Scotty. I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about.
So, there was a water crisis in Hawaii that not a lot of people knew about.
Mm-hmm.
So the Navy was storing jet fuel in tanks from the 60s, and they had been warned several times, like, hey, these things are 60 years old. Like, leaks are a problem, and they put it off because they can.
I'd rather buy another ship or build another ship than repair stuff we got.
Right. So last year, there were major leaks that they tried to deny until people were getting sick and showing up in hospitals, to the point where they had to start shipping water in for the citizens of one of the islands. And I don't remember which one, so I'm not going to state it because I don't want to be called wrong. But
Hawaii.
Somewhere, one of the islands in Hawaii. But I was looking at that, and then all of the a lot of the coverage moved on because they started fixing the water issue but the Native Islanders started talking about the housing market and the fact that the similar situation where people would move in and outbid the people who they've lived there for generations and they can't afford to still live there, and like they're having to move off their own island because people are coming in and buying houses and raising rates, and like they don't, their lifestyle, the jobs they have, whatever, can't keep up with that.
Right.
And it's, it's tough to see that happen. I don't have a solution offhand.
No, I'm not asking for solutions.
No, no, I wish I did.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
it sucks to see. But it's similar to the situation that we were talking about with the mobile homes. Yeah.
Yep. I think we're headed toward another housing crisis like we had in 2008.
Yep.
And
go ahead.
People do not understand how close this country came to being Mad Max.
Yeah.
In 2008. I mean, money was almost worthless.
Yep.
And so I mean, it's how crazy that got.
Yeah, it came very close. I don't know that we will let it get. I say we. I don't know if the Federal Reserve will let it happen. We're getting into some crazy talk.
We are getting crazy talk.
Yeah,
but it's.
So, I mean, they could just repeat what they did last time and bail them out.
Well, so here's the crazy part.
But we're paying for that cost now. Part of the inflation that we have now is part of is the ripple effect
because of that bailout.
Well, so here's
part of the ripple effect.
Here's the crazy part, right? So there's a group of
lizard people. When I was waiting for lizard people.
Yeah. And this is
where you're crazy because you weren't for governor.
Right. So there are a group of modern economic theorists that are proposing something called modern monetary theory. And it accounts for the fact that we have a fiat currency, right? It's not worth anything technically.
Right.
It's not backed by any natural resource. It's just we're the United States. It's our dollar.
We left the gold standard a long time ago.
Yeah. So if you think about that and trace your money back, like the paycheck you get, no matter where you're at, if you trace it back far enough, it starts at the Fed by just typing numbers in a keyboard, right? So they can, with some limitations, like money's like even fiat money isn't infinitely available, right? Like at some point it causes problems, but there is a lot more bandwidth to just put money in accounts than most citizens are aware of. Like they're proposing that they could do a lot more without actually causing immediate problems. Now you would have to balance that out with public sector jobs or something else to help, to justify the money, but they're like, they could literally just go, all right, cool. Like, healthcare done. Like, they don't have to take it from anywhere else. They could just do it.
Right.
And like, that's the super frustrating part is like, they could just fix it.
Right.
They could.
Yeah.
Not on state level because we don't make our own money in Alabama, but
yet.
When
we succeed, which is part of your platform, I know you're big on that.
We're jeez.
I'm kidding.
No. Let me state emphatically and for the record, I am not trying to secede from the union.
Form our own union would be great. Man, we'd be so screwed up if we did that.
So we accept too much federal assistance.
Yeah,
we couldn't do anything.
secessionists make me laugh every time I hear like Texas and California.
It reminds me of so I'm from Fort Lauderdale originally, and
that quality.
No,
you gotta be.
I don't have to have been. I don't have to be born here.
Absolutely, because I mean,
it's a resident for. 7 or 9 years.
I think it's 7.
Yeah, I think it's 7 years.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Look up how long you have to be a resident of Alabama before you can run for senator.
Yeah,
I don't think it's very long.
No,
No,
it's not. It's not very
it's
long.
It's like a day.
I think it's 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like a day.
Because that's what Tommy Tuberville did.
Yeah.
That's why we have the coach
Yeah.
as our replace Doug Jones.
I'm 99%
I'm
sure.
pretty
it's
sure.
a day.
And then before, I thought so too before, but since you mentioned it, it's funny. You can be our state senator, be here a day, but you got to be here 10 years or whatever to be governor.
It's 7 or 9, one of the two. I was looking at the chart earlier
Yeah, you
today.
can look it up too.
Yeah,
That's
I
why we
got
have a
it.
producer.
Yeah. I bring up Florida because the Florida Keys at one point tried to secede and become the Conch Republic
Yeah, state residency for a day
for Senate.
For Senate and House of Representatives, governor and lieutenant governor 7 years, secretary of state 5, attorney general 5, state auditor, state treasurer, and then
So to have a government position in this state of some level, you have to be at least 5 years. But to be the representative of all the people
for
a day,
24 hours.
Yeah. Just move in the day before elections.
Yeah.
This is what
November 7th is moving day.
Tommy Tuberville did that. I swear, because he was a Florida resident,
Right.
And then bought property over here. And I mean, he owned property here.
Yeah.
But
he moved in.
Yeah, he moved in to run.
And then on top of that,
couch and a bed and
because
a coffee
look,
table.
no offense,
I'm making that up.
Look, I voted for Doug Jones because we had to get Roy Moore away from everything.
Everything and everyone.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say everyone.
Yeah, the small with the little ones especially. We had to get Roy Moore.
Just send him out on the horse and
send him on that. Just go.
Maybe I don't know.
He might like horses. I don't know.
I don't know him well enough to say that.
But I don't know him well enough. But I will say because I'm not running for anything ever.
But yeah, just be here for a day, and then you get unlimited term limits. And
yeah.
But it was an easy race for him to win because he's a football coach, so he's popular in Alabama, even if it's for the wrong team.
Because he had the R next to his name.
Well, he had the recognition. He had the name, money, and R.
Yeah, and Trump backed him.
Yep.
Yeah, that helped.
That helped because for some reason Trump is the new Republican Jesus. He's replaced Reagan.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't disagree.
I mean, it's weird that he's like.
So I feel like I should say something.
Although we don't hear Trumponomics yet.
So
still Reaganomics.
Trumponomics.
Oh my gosh.
I have all the money you don't.
And
it's bigly. Bigly. I have all the bigly money.
I feel like I should say something. I'm running as an independent, and that was partly out of necessity because of my timeline. But I'm thankful because I can actually just work with whomever wants to help our state.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating when you talk to somebody in like the Democratic Party who you align with their core, like what they're passionate about, what they're trying to fix on our state, line 100%. They can't support me because the party will disown them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's why I'm okay running as an independent. Because I'm like, I don't care if you're a Republican and you're running for office, not as governor. If you're running for office, anything else,
I got you. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. And you want to make a difference in our state, let me know. Like, because I want to make a difference for our citizens, and I don't care what party you're in, as long as you're trying to do good by our citizens.
Yeah.
I haven't found a Republican that wants to do that, but maybe I
never
run
know.
in circles. Yeah, you never know.
We've
That's
talked.
my open invite.
We've talked a lot about the negative side of the state.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that being said, you and I and producer Caleb still live here.
Yeah.
And as much as I am frustrated with our government in the state, I love my state.
Yeah, I do too.
Why do you love Alabama?
I love the people that are here. If we're talking about the region / like the fact like the surroundings,
Whatever you define it as.
Yeah.
Why do you love Alabama?
Most of the time I love the weather. It's wonderful most of the year. It gets humid and gross, but I would prefer that over snow personally. I love the people here, generally speaking. Like the people you meet every day want to help people. And from what I hear, being a public persona now, when I interact with people from other states, they are surprised at how friendly we are. And like I just want us to be better taken care of as a whole. So like I love our people. I don't know. Like I'm not sure that answers your question.
No. Again, it's
open ended.
It's open ended. It's again. I asked it for you. I mean, for me, it's similar. My roots are here. I'm Puerto Rican Indian. I mean, this is our land, and I'm proud of what we as a tribe has accomplished worldwide, not just in the state but worldwide. That's a big part of it. I mean, I feel physically connected.
Right.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that the people of Alabama want to help. They're sometimes blinded about how they want to help, and when again, you should help everyone. We don't typically try to do that,
right?
Because sociologically, people are tribal, and so I mean, we're not going to fix that in an election cycle.
Right.
However, if we can get down to fixing ourselves, helping ourselves, we can fix other things. But we got to fix ourselves first,
right?
And that's something people don't really think about. I think it's important that we bring in more industry into the state. I think honestly, because of our weather and the state's beauty, I think we should re-examine the film tax credit, to make it more appealing for that industry to come in,
right?
Because it's jobs for everybody, and it's a good industry. Look at Georgia, look at Louisiana, has had trouble with their tax incentive. I think it's coming back or it's back. I know Anthony Mackie wants to build a studio there, so that means to me that they're working on their tax credit. We have one. It's not great, but at least we have. We didn't have one for the longest time.
Right, it disappeared for a bit.
Right. So, but productions are coming back, and just because I mean, look, I'm in the media. I'm in entertainment. That's important to me.
Well, so I mean, there is a large group of people that when things look bad, they look down on artists, and I don't understand it, because every day we're interacting with art, and I don't think people realize how much of our life is influenced by art in some fashion.
Right.
So, I mean, take a microphone, right? An artist engineered this microphone. So like it's not only pretty, it sounds great.
Right.
I've heard your content previously, and I've used these microphones before.
They're good mics.
They're good mics, but they're also designed by somebody who puts thought and creativity into this thing. We talk stop signs, like that's somebody designed that thing up. Now it's a uniform standard now, sure, whatever, but
someone had to design the first one.
Somebody had to design it,
right?
If you can you imagine a day without having some type of music?
Right.
Like there's so much in our life that people don't think about as art, and they downplay that. And when it comes to funding through like education, it's like, hey, let's cut the arts. And it's like, no, no, we can't cut that. It's an integral part of humanity.
We want 2 big, tall, cold frosty ones.
Rich and creamy, big foamy head.
Yeah, A&W root beer.
Oh yeah, A&W.
Yeah. Oh, root beer.
This is A&W root beer. It's got that frosty mug taste. It's special.
Ooh, it's special.
Pour yourself a frosty one. A&W root beer.
Sometimes it's nice to drink alone.
So I'm joined now by Stephanie.
Hi.
From the Cult Movie Cantina. She's our Lady of Libations.
I am.
And we are, of course, Caleb's back there. We know, as he's been all episode. And so I want to tell you a story. And I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
And
I'm excited.
Feel free to comment as we go along.
All right.
What if I told you that one early Christmas morning in 1945, a house fire broke out in a middle-class immigrant family's home in West Virginia.
Okay.
Most of the family escaped, but 5 children never made it out. Or did they?
Well, either they did or they didn't.
That's the purpose.
That's the mystery.
That's the mystery of this today's story.
Hey, I've been to West Virginia. Weird shit happens in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Like bridges falling for no reason.
How about the Mothman?
Yeah, that's what I was. The
Mothman will probably be a story on this one day, but I wanted to start with this one. I think this is my favorite West Virginia mystery.
Okay.
Because unlike the Mothman, this is more plausible.
Yeah, this is more. Yeah.
No offense to Mothman aficionados, and I don't need the MIBs to show up and erase my memory and whatnot.
Okay, so we got a house fire in the 40s, and 5 kids may or may not
and
have
not just the
survived.
40s. Christmas morning.
Christmas morning.
It's a Christmas morning fire.
Right. Christmas morning fire.
You have a tragedy where you lose your children on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. So here we go. George Sauter was born in Tula, Sardinia in 1885.
Where's Sardinia?
Italy.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, I'm happy to help.
Sardines.
Absolutely. And he immigrated to the United States when he was just 13. He had an older brother who went along with him, but immediately turned back after he got to Ellis Island.
I don't blame him.
He just went to the U.S., said, here's my 13-year-old brother. Peace out. I'm going back to Italy.
All right.
He also would never talk about why he left Italy.
Okay.
So don't know if he's looking for a better life or it's one of those Vito Corleone situations or like some Don's trying to kill him and he's just like,
he needed to get out.
He got to get out of Italy. He found work carrying water and supplies for to railroad workers in Pennsylvania. And a few years later, he moved to West Virginia. He was a hard worker, smart, and he was very ambitious. And because of that, he started his own trucking company, which first hauled dirt for construction sites,
right?
Then freight, and then finally coal, because West Virginia is known for its coal. He met Jenny Cipriani at her father's store, the Music Box. Her family had come over when she was only 3, so she had been in the country longer.
Right.
The two fell in love and married. They settled in Fayetteville, where they would have 10 children.
Jesus Christ. They were obviously Catholic.
Probably so. Now, Fayetteville was a small Appalachian town, but it had an active Italian immigrant community. Take that as you will. Now, they were all well-respected, middle-class family, but let's just say George was opinionated.
Okay.
He always had something to say about current events, politics, even business. And it thought that he might have ruffled some feathers among the locals.
Okay.
Sometimes you just talk too much. In the fall of 1945, a gentleman who was looking for some hauling work walked to the back of the Sauter's house and pointed out 2 separate fuse boxes and said, "This is going to cause a fire someday," which was odd to George since they had just recently had the wires checked by the power company.
Okay.
Another time, a man tried to sell the family life insurance and was upset when George declined the offer. The salesman yelled, "Your goddamn house is going to go up in smoke and your children will be destroyed. You're going to pay for those dirty remarks you've been making about Mussolini."
Oh, God. Wait, is he pro or con Mussolini?
Anti-Mussolini.
Okay.
He was con Mussolini. But apparently Fayetteville really liked him.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
All right.
All right. The older Sauter son saw someone watching the younger kids come home from school right before the holidays.
Right.
So parked outside the school, just somebody in a car watching little kids walk home.
I see.
Which is creepy in its own right. So right after midnight on Christmas morning, everyone was asleep after the children had opened a few presents before bed. You know how kids are. I don't know if you...
Right.
that's a
No, we
tradition.
always were allowed one on
You did
Christmas
one-
Eve.
My mother only wanted to open Christmas presents on Christmas Eve, and so
Yeah.
that's a thing.
We
But-
did, yeah. We got to pick one for Christmas
Right.
Eve.
Were you the same thing you did with your kids?
No, I made the little bastards wait. I'm not gonna lie.
Kayla, what were your Christmas traditions? Did you do a Christmas gift before?
Yeah, we'd open one the night before, and that would be our thing.
I gotcha.
That'd be we didn't until
Mom
I
couldn't
got
wait.
older.
Mom still can't wait. She does Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Well, as I got older, we did our Christmas Eve because trying to navigate
Right.
the girls with the boys and
Right.
schedules.
Mm-hmm.
So right after midnight on Christmas morning, everyone was asleep, and the children opened a few presents before bed. The telephone rang and woke Jenny up, who said an unfamiliar female voice asked for someone she did not know. She said, "You have the wrong number," and hung up the phone. Heading back to bed, she noticed the downstairs lights were on and the curtain open. The front door was unlocked, but it's 1945. I don't expect it to be locked.
Right.
She saw her 17-year-old daughter, Marion, sleeping on the couch. She figured that the other kids were in their beds asleep, and so she went to bed. She was almost asleep when she heard a loud bang on the roof, then a rolling noise. An hour later, she was awakened by heavy smoke pouring into the room. George and 4 of the children managed to escape. Marion, their 2 sons, 24-year-old John and 16-year-old George Jr., and the 2-year-old Sylvia, who was in her crib in George and Jeannie's room. Right. They all got out. George thought the other 4 kids, 14-year-old Maurice, 12-year-old Martha, 9-year-old Louis, and 8-year-old Jeannie, and 5-year-old Betty, were trapped in the 2 bedrooms on either side of the house, separated by a staircase that was now engulfed in flames. Now, that's 9 kids. They had an older son who was in the Army at the time.
Okay.
So that accounts for the 10 children.
Okay.
So house is on fire. The staircase is engulfed. George tried to get the kids out. Couldn't get the kids out.
Right.
So he couldn't get them from the inside, but he tried to go outside. But the ladder he kept out back was missing.
Oh, my God.
He then tried to get his 2 coal trucks and move them to the side of the house so he could climb in and get the kids out. But neither one of them would crank.
Oh, shit.
Marion sprinted to the nearby neighbor's house, and she called the fire department, but couldn't get an operator to respond. Another neighbor who saw the fire made a call from a nearby tavern, but again, no operator responded.
Oh, God.
A third neighbor tried to track down the fire chief who activated Fayetteville's fire alarm system, which was this. It's a phone tree system where one firefighter would call another, then call another, then call another. The fire department was 2.5 miles away, but the crew didn't arrive until 8 a.m. By then it was too late. The Sodders' home was nothing more than a pile of smoldering ash. A brief search of the grounds later that day turned up no remains. The fire chief suggested that the fire was so hot that it could have completely cremated the bodies. A state police inspector combed the rubble and declared faulty wiring was the case of the fire. And the coroners issued 5 death certificates attributing the cause to fire or suffocation. Because there are no bodies, they've not shown, so they assumed they were cremated. But things weren't really adding up. Were the Sodder children alive? So here's some odd things about the case. Jeannie Sodder, being a grieving mother and who believes her kids are missing,
right,
conducted some private experiments, and these are she's not a scientist. She's just a grieving mother doing her thing, and so so this is what she did. She conducted private experiments on burning animal bones, chicken, beef joints, pork chop bones, to see if the fire consumed them, and each time there was bones left.
Right.
She also knew that the household appliances that were in the house that were burned were still identifiable. An employee at a crematorium told her it takes about 2 hours to cremate a body at 2,000 degrees. The Sodders' home was only destroyed in 45 minutes.
Right. It takes a while. And also, there's usually, and I know this because I used to work in the funeral business, there's usually some bone left that they have to grind.
Right.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
So.
A telephone repairman told the Sodders that their phone lines looked like they were cut, not burned. The baby Sylvia found a hard rubber object in the yard a few days later, and Jeannie remembered hearing the thud on the roof and the rolling sound. George thought that it could be part of a napalm pineapple bomb that was used in World War II.
Oh, wow.
Then there were the sightings. One woman who operated a tourist stop between Fayetteville and Charleston, and tourist stop is an old-timey fancy word for rest stop.
Yep.
Like a rest stop. Yeah.
Like a rest stop. They may have like a little diner or two. Fayetteville and Charleston claimed to serve them breakfast. There was a car with Florida license plates at the stop too. A woman at a Charleston hotel said she saw them after a local newspaper ran the children's photos. She said the kids were with 2 couples of Italian extraction, but the entire party registered at the hotel and stayed in one large room with several beds. She tried talking to the kids, but the man refused to let her talk to the kids. They left the next morning. In 1947, the Sodders wrote the FBI to help them in their investigation. They did receive a letter from J. Edgar Hoover himself, who declined, saying it was a local matter, but if the local authorities wished to investigate, the FBI would come and help. The fire and police declined the investigation.
Ooh.
The Sodders then hired a private investigator who found out the insurance man who threatened George Sodder was a member of the coroner's jury that deemed the fire accidental. He also had another story of a local minister who discovered a heart in the ashes and hid it inside a dynamite box and buried it at the scene. The box was located, and it was discovered that it wasn't a heart, but a beef liver that was untouched by fire. The Sodders heard that the fire chief had said that the liver was in the rubble, not in a box, and was hoping that it would placate them into stopping the investigation.
Oh my God!
So there's like here's some evidence of your poor children.
Yeah. But it's a beef liver.
Yeah, but they were thinking like, hey, they won't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a big size difference between a beef liver and a human liver.
Right, but then they thought it was a heart. They didn't think it was a liver.
Oh wow. Okay.
Over the years, tips would come in about the children. George saw a newspaper photo of school children in New York City, and he was convinced that one of them was his daughter, Betty. He drove to Manhattan, found the child's parents, but they refused to let George speak to her.
Oh, my gosh.
Which makes sense to me. If a crazy guy knocks on your door and says, hey, I need to speak to your son because I think he's my son, you would be like, oh, no. No. In 1949, the Sodders held another investigation on the site, this time with a pathologist from D.C. named Oscar B. Hunter. The scene was thoroughly gone through. They found coins, a burned dictionary, and strangely several shards of vertebrae, which was sent off for analysis.
Wait a minute, coins?
Yeah,
that didn't melt.
Yeah, damaged coins. They were the melt. Yeah,
but you know what I mean,
right?
Like so, and they think. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mystery.
It's very
The report came back that it was possible that the bones belonged to Maurice, the oldest boy, but the strange thing was there was no evidence that they had been exposed to fire. The house was only on fire for 30 to 45 minutes, so they would expect to find full skeletons, not pieces of vertebrae.
Right.
The report concluded that the bones most likely were in the supply of dirt that George used to fill the house basement to create a memorial for the children. Then the investigation was closed, and that didn't deter the Sodders. They erected a billboard along Route 16 offering a reward for any information that would help them find the children. So the billboard was there for years, and it's got the kids' pictures on it, and it had, at first it was like for $5,000, and they moved up to $10,000. More tips would come up, but they never panned out. 23 years after the fire.
Okay, so now we're in the 1970?
60s. We're in the 60s.
Late 60s.
Late 60s.
Okay.
23 years after the fire, so that's 68.
Yeah.
23 years after the fire, the Sodders found an envelope in the mailbox that was addressed to Jenny. There was no return address, but had a Kentucky postmark. Inside was a photo of a man in his mid-20s. On the back of the note, it read, Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie, little boys, LIL boys, A90132 or 35. The man looked like Lewis, who was 9 at the time in the fire, so it could look like it could be Lewis now. So he favored Lewis.
Right.
They hired another private investigator and sent him to Kentucky. The private investigator never returned.
Wow.
George died a year later. Jeannie erected a fence around her property and began adding rooms to her home, trying to keep out the outside world. So she pulled a Winchester.
Okay.
She wore black exclusively as a sign of mourning until her own death in 1989. That's when the billboard finally came down.
Oh, my gosh.
The last of the Sodder children, Sylvia, died last year in 2021. And the families never gave up looking for the children, as the story has grown into legend, and they have theories of their own. So, did the local mafia fail to recruit George and then do something to the house or the children?
Right.
Did the local mafia fail to extort George? Were the children kidnapped by someone they knew? They may have not even survived the night. They were questioning if it might be Lewis in the photograph. The family's Christmas lights stayed on through the beginning of the blaze. This would not occur if it was truly an electrical fire.
Right.
And people in town claim they saw the missing children in a vehicle the night of the fire.
Right.
Stacey Horn did a segment for National Public Radio in 2005 on the 60th anniversary of the tragedy, theorizing that the kids perishing in the fire is the most plausible. The house went up in a half an hour to 45 minutes, but it was left smoldering for hours. That the firefighters may not know what they were looking for, but, however, there was enough genuine weirdness about the whole thing that if someday it learned that the children did not die, she wouldn't be shocked. It's most likely that if the children survived the fire, they would no longer be with us. Lewis, if alive, would be 91 years old today at 2022.
Right.
Which is possible, but unlikely.
What about the baby? Was that the baby?
Yeah, no, the baby died last year. She was 67.
Right. Okay.
Lewis was, he was the oldest. He was 14 at the time.
Okay.
So he'd be 91 today. While it's a closed case in the state of West Virginia, many believe that those children survived the fire and vanished into the cold Christmas morning, never to be seen again.
I honestly, I mean, knowing what I know about fires and what I know about cremations, and the fact that appliances were basically intact, coins were not completely melted. They found coins, they found this. There would be bodies to discover. I mean, they would not be completely cremated. There would definitely be bodies. So yeah, those kids were napped easily.
I think those kids were napped too.
Yep.
Caleb, so I have a weird addendum to this story. So as many of you know, I went to school in West Virginia.
Right.
And so, and I studied television broadcasting.
Yep.
And one of my assignments, so we had a show that we did for PBS, and one of my assignments, it was during the Halloween October episode, so we're doing Halloween spooky stuff and stuff.
Right.
Well, I had heard about the story, and so I tracked down a guy who's an expert on the story, who's a local historian.
Right.
And so me and Kim went to go interview this guy.
Okay.
And first of all, we showed up about TV equipment. And he goes, I didn't know this was on TV. He totally knew this was on TV.
Oh my gosh.
We discussed this when I called him up. And so he only wanted to do audio, which
Okay.
was fine because I'll record the audio, and then I can put pictures and stuff and make the segment that way. We'll have an expert. This is no problem. So we recorded the audio. It was a great interview. It was an hour long. I had plenty of stuff to use. There was stuff I was going to use because this was right before I started podcasting, and this is one of the reasons why I started getting into podcasting. And so I was like, oh, good. I can use this on one of my future shows or whatever. We drove to the site of the house.
Oh, wow.
Where the house was, and we talked to another local politician. He was a local city clerk or something, and where he told me that if I ever wanted to get in politics in West Virginia, I need to know about the 3 Gs.
Okay. 3 Gs are?
Guns, God, and gays.
Okay.
You have to be for 2 of them and against 1 of them.
I understand.
And he's like, I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I was like, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, weird conversation. But so, we get back, and I go to start editing this stuff. Nothing recorded.
Are you kidding me?
Nothing recorded.
Nothing?
I had an hour long of silence. Nothing got recorded. And I watched the recorder, and I watched it. There's a meter on the recorder. You can see when people talk. I watched it. It. I swear to God, that meter was going the whole time we were to have this conversation.
Wow.
And so I don't believe in the hooby-dooby supernatural stuff, but them babies didn't want me to tell that story.
Wow.
them babies like, don't tell the story, and they took that story away. I 100% believe that. That's a weird glitch to have. That's just a really weird glitch.
Well, that
to
being
have.
said, though, if you go with that logic, then the babies would have died in the fire.
I don't know. There's also the thing where
I think maybe the mafia just wiped the recording and you didn't know.
No, but the thing is like,
I mean, that's more logical to me.
Well, I mean, the recording was with me the whole time.
Doesn't matter.
So here's the thing. So it could be twofold, and like I mentioned in the story, it's those kids could have been kidnapped and not survived the night.
Yeah,
they could have been drawn off and killed somewhere and buried somewhere,
and then put somewhere else. Yeah.
There's lots of places to hide people in West Virginia.
Yeah, but okay, but that doesn't make sense to me, because what would be the point of kidnapping children just to kill them when they could have just left them in the house and had them die in the fire and not have any issues with it? I mean, It's just crazy.
It's-
And then again, what would be the point of kidnapping them and having them raised by other people? And once they become adults,
but see,
why would they have not said, "Hey,
But again, the oldest is 14.
Right.
I mean, he's practically an adult. In 45.
Yeah, 45.
I mean, he's a kid, but he's like, he's on his path. I
Right.
mean, he's smart enough to know that these are not my parents.
Right. That's what I'm
and
saying.
so it's 14, 12, 8. The youngest is 5, and it's like. It's a weird case.
It's a weird case.
It's a weird case. So
wow.
So I just wanted to share that with y'all. So
well, thank you for making me really not want to go back to West Virginia.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
this country has a weird obsession with work.
I'll agree with that.
A weird obsession with work.
Yeah.
Work's important. Work's part of life.
Right.
But it's weird what they think is work. So an artist you're not working if you're an artist. You got to have another job.
Right.
Because you're painting. Come on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, no, that's important. But they're like, no, you have to have another job to do that. You have that. You have, let's get you in the workforce as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also going to keep you in as long as possible. We don't respect retirement.
Right.
At all. I mean, whatsoever. We don't educate people on how to do retirement. Social Security is a joke. I've known people who are well passing time. They should be working that are running this country, but or running the state.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be ageist, but like, look, I don't know why I'm trying to censor myself on my own show. Sometimes it's weird, but here's the thing. Regardless if you like Kay Ivey or not, it seems to me that they put her in her sarcophagus until they need her to do a press conference. So they unlock the top Tupperware, make her come out, make Grandma say a few things, and then they lock her away. And then, I mean, she doesn't seem like involved.
Yeah, my concern is I'm okay with age limits. Like, I think if you're running a country, you have to be forward thinking.
Right.
And if your future is not that long, you don't have the incentive to care.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody who's old doesn't care.
No, absolutely.
But you are more likely to not care because it's not going to affect you.
Right.
But like for me, I'm 38. I've got 3 kids, and like I'm hoping this world will be around for them when they're older.
Your kids are all elementary school age?
One of them starts next year.
Yeah, but they're
10 and below.
10 and below. So
Yep.
so
they've got their whole lives
ahead of them, right?
And I want to influence our state, and eventually, that trickles up to the country. Hopefully,
right.
Not me specifically. Well, maybe, I don't know, but anyway. I'm thinking about their future, not just like what's going to be good for us in 3 years. Like
Right.
we've got to start changing the trajectory. Like we're doing a was it the moonshot where you're
Right.
like you're heading out and you're Apollo not 13. Was it 13 that had to make the loop around the back? Yeah.
13. Yeah.
So like perhaps failing. Like
Right.
let's use gravity and slowly sling us back the other way. Like let's take advantage of that and change trajectory and save ourselves.
What's the age limit to run for governor? Do you know off the top of your head?
Age limit?
Yeah, how old are you?
I don't. You have to be 30. I don't know if there's a limit.
No, there's not a limit. But what's the requirement? 30. At least 30.
Yeah.
So for president's 35, and I am a firm believer that it should be 35 to 60.
Right.
5. You get 30 years to try to be president. And, if you are elected at 65, you get one term.
Right. Yeah, because you're outside the
outside,
term limit, or outside of the age limit.
Right, but you get one. You're duly elected, but you get one term. I don't understand.
I'm not opposed to that. Like, and it's not just age limits. Like, I don't think there should be career politicians.
I don't think there should be career politicians. And look, I'm not ageist. I think there is wisdom and experience.
Yeah,
I am fully believe it. But there's also a time where you're like, you can be an advisor, but
so you can still have input, but like final decision, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah, because you're not. Again,
there's concerns about there's the concerns about I'm trying to think of how to say it.
I'll say it for you. So the last two presidents we've had, the current one, and the last one, they have both been questions about their mental stability.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Right. For both of them.
Yep.
For both of them.
And they're both around the same age.
They're both around the same age. I think Trump's a little older, right? I think Trump's older than
a smidge
older than Biden.
Yeah.
And Trump's trying to run again, which he might win. So we'll have an 80-year-old president, which is weird to me. I don't, like Reagan was, I think Biden's Trump was probably the oldest. Now I think he's elected after Reagan was.
Age-wise?
Age-wise, yeah.
I
can't remember. I used to know this, and then school happened, and then it was like I learned. Well, college happened. I learned other things in college, and so,
I used to be smart, and then I went to college,
and I learned. I just got smart in different areas. I'm like, a lot of this knowledge went away. I used to love. I love.
So Trump was the oldest elected until Biden.
So Biden's older.
Because it was 4 years later.
4 years later. Okay, that was good God.
And it looks like. Yeah.
How old is Biden?
Well, when he was inaugurated, 78.
78. So
he'll be 82
when he gets out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he wants to run again. So it'll be 86 if he survives. So he lives. I mean, what's the lifespan?
Yeah.
It's just, you have grandkids. Go enjoy them.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not disagree.
You don't need to work yourself to death.
Yeah.
Especially him. He's done his bit for Queen and Country.
And actually, Trump is still younger because he was 70 when he was inaugurated.
All right.
Oh, so he actually is younger. Okay.
Oh God.
But that's still
I hate to be ageist. I really hate to be ageist, but there's like,
it's not.
I'm saying
it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
I also think look.
I mean, because people joke they're just going to die while they're in office.
Well, I look, and generally, I think if you're 80 and want to work, I think you should have the right to work.
Right.
I just wish you didn't have to.
100% agree.
Right. Because again, I would like to enjoy the twilight of my life and not worrying how to be the greeter at Walmart.
Yeah.
So I can eat.
Yep.
It's insane. If this country is as rich and powerful as it is, we can't help our own citizenry. And because we refuse to, because we rather build bigger bombers and bigger but bigger ships to fight wars that are not going to happen,
or that we start.
Yeah.
And because we have to justify all this cost, and I get
$786 billion,
and I understand that part of that goes to paying for people that people have to build those planes.
Yeah.
But
so let us roll back to Alabama, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay. There is a large is probably not the right word. There is a chunk of our military supplies, a significant portion that are built in prisons.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're paying some people to build parts of things,
right?
But we're also not paying some people to build things. So I have a really large budget. I just
look again.
I
am not against defending our country. I'm not.
I think we should defend ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not against defending our allies. I am against the sheer amount that we spend on it, where we can, universal health care, no brainer.
It should be.
It is a no-brainer. Regardless if they believe it's a no-brainer, it's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because of the fact that you want your citizenry to be in the healthy, because in the long run, their healthy is cheaper for everything.
Right.
Everything goes down when everyone's healthy.
Right.
And they teach us how to. And this is coming from a large fella. When you teach us good habits there's ways to do this.
Right.
So it's cheaper in the long run. there's an expense up front because we didn't do it right, so we have to pay that.
Yeah, we're recouping that bad and not investment.
Right.
What is it? It's
so
what's it called when you don't invest in something early and you end up paying more for stocks. Anyway, there's a term for it. Similar thing for healthcare.
You've got universal healthcare because you want your citizenry to be healthy.
Yeah,
because that's the good of the.
Even if you are a staunch capitalist,
right?
You need people to work,
right?
And they can't work if they're not healthy,
right?
So why not have a healthy workforce,
right? So there's that too,
right?
Education also, higher education,
right?
Too, because you want the most educated citizenry as you can get. So, and that regardless of if that's a university, a community college, or a trade school,
right?
But that should be part of. Again, you get all the rights.
Right.
These are some rights you get. These are the advantages to being an American.
Yeah.
If we're going to be the greatest country in the world, we should show out. This is how we are the greatest.
Right.
These are things that and then those are the things that frustrate me. And
not just you.
No, not right.
Yeah, no,
and then I hear all the time, well, you should vote. And I do. I vote. I typically don't vote nationally because again, we put two elderly people. Right. I don't need my president wearing Depends. I just don't. Unless that's just kink and I don't kink shame. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, at some point.
Yeah, it's very much like that clip in Newsroom where they talk about America not really being the greatest country because you look at all the stats.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like.
So I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
What I was going to say.
Sorry,
No. It's fine. It may come back to me and I'll bring it up. I'm trying to remember where we were in the conversation where it popped in my head. I'm just glad this isn't live.
But
education.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh, well,
if it comes to me,
back to you, come to you.
Yeah. If it comes to me, I'll bring it up.
But education, we're like, especially here in Alabama, we're the lowest.
It depends on which report you look at, but we are, somewhere between 45 and 50,
yeah,
depending on
but
which
we're
report.
low, but it's next door to us in Mississippi, so it's like we're basically twins.
So so the thing I like to actually bring up to people is it's not that we're lowest. It's the disparity between the first and the 50th.
Right.
If everybody was 2 points away, sure, we're 50th. Oh no. Whatever. Like we're all producing, excellent, well-educated citizens. Like, okay, we happen to be 50th. Somebody has to be there.
Right.
It's fine. But when it's like, if we're talking about like a foot race, and like first person runs the 100-meter dash in, I'm making up numbers. I'm not a runner. Somebody runs it in 4 seconds. Right. And that's first place. And third place is like 3 minutes.
Right.
It's like, you don't want to be third place.
Right.
Like you don't want to be that person. But like if it was 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, like yeah, we're getting there. Like okay, sure. Third place, close race. Call today.
But at the end of the day, the argument that you're going to come into and that I come into a lot too when I rarely discuss this stuff because I get frustrated by it, and I try to love everybody. And after a while, I'm just like, people are stupid and you can't help them. So
okay, keep going.
But generally,
make your point first, and then I'll say what I hopefully remember to say.
But I'll hear often, well, you just got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to bootstrap it, and I'm like, what if you have no boots?
Well, so the really frustrating part was that phrase came about as a pointing out you can't do it.
Right.
Like the whole phrase started out with like you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps because it's literally impossible.
Right.
Like that it's a dumb phrase that has been hijacked
to
mean something that it literally cannot mean.
Yeah.
Like go try, put your shoes on the ground and pick up the straps and try to pick yourself up. You can't because gravity. So that argument is frustrating, not just because even if you were physically able to somehow pick yourself up, like we live in a society, like we are a civilized. We think of ourselves as a civilized.
There you go.
Country.
Yeah, there you go.
We like to think of ourselves that way.
Absolutely.
And like, what defines civilization? To me, I go to anthropologists because that's their freaking job. And like, there's a really well-known anthropologist. I can't think of her name.
That's book learning. I'm getting scared of that.
No, her point though, and she says, hey, when we're looking and we try to define when civilization started, and she was like, She's for me, through my career, what I point to is the first time we find a healed femur. She was like, because before that, you got injured and you got left behind. But from that point forward, hey, we're going to help them survive. Like, they got injured and they should die. If nature takes its course, they're going to get left behind. Somebody's going to eat them, whatever. But they took care of them, helped them heal a major bone break, and kept them in to live to a ripe old age. And like, that's the start of civilization. So I'm like, that if we're going to go by the people who know what they're doing, helping people is how you define civilization.
Yep.
Being an individual and having a very hyper individual mindset, an individualistic mindset, is not how we move forward as a civilization.
Yeah. Right.
Like, if you want to go back to, that's pre-civilization. I don't know, like the Stone Age. Like, it's before Stone Age, though, because like anyway.
Because you can't really be a civilization by yourself.
Right. You have to have other people. And if everyone is only in it for themselves, you're not in a civilization. You're just a group of people who live near each other.
Right.
And like, I don't want that. Evidently some people do. I don't.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
That's my call out. This may not make the video. That's my call out to the Libertarian Party. They're hyper individualistic.
Yeah. They are. And
so the frustrating part is on paper
for a little bit.
Well, so on paper, I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I just don't want you to affect me. And in an ideal world, in a utopia, that makes sense. Unfortunately, we have history.
Right.
And like, you can't just ignore the people around you and the situation they're in and say, I'm going to get mine and you handle your own. Well, like, we have things like redlining. Like, you can't just ignore the situation people are in that they didn't choose and say, nah, sucks for you. That's how you were born into that situation.
Right.
It's like, well, that's
because that's when they start incorrectly talking about bootstraps again.
Yeah. And it's just,
you're born into that situation. I was born poor too. That's the one I always get. I was born poor too. And look at me now. I'm like, yeah, but there's some other other factors you got to look at.
It was like, sure, you were born poor. Awesome. How did you get out of poverty? Well, I got a good education. Blah, blah. I'm like, cool. How'd you get the good education? It's like, okay, well, either you had money or somebody gave you a grant. Like someone helped you the entire way.
You're incredibly in debt right now.
Like,
you're eligible to get a loan.
Yeah, right.
Which is also not everyone can do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's frustrating, and that's why I someone asked if I wanted to run with the Libertarian Party, because here in Alabama they're doing a similar thing to me. They're trying to get their name on the ballot. They're doing rather well from what they say. I don't know anybody directly, but I reviewed their website and I can't jump on board with the hyper individual mindset.
That's the reason why I left too. I was like, we can't be individuals. We're a society. We're not a society of one.
Right.
And so I was like, I get what you're saying. And there's some things that I like, their stance on drugs. I agree with. I personally think drugs should be legal. Because all drugs, because we have a terrible cartel problem in Mexico that's causing terrible problems in this country, and let's just curtail that. That's the easiest way to curtail that.
And it's
hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
But I look at the example of Portugal, who decriminalized all drugs,
everything
in 2001, and Portugal hasn't killed itself. It hasn't burned itself into this drug utopia. It's also not a drug vacation spot. Like Amsterdam kind of, but Amsterdam spun their and that's fine for Amsterdam to do that.
Right.
And you don't hear about, but even then, even with like a case of Amsterdam, you don't hear about a ton of people dying all over the place.
Well, so the flip side of that is they don't just legalize it and say you're on your own.
No,
there's programs in place to where if there is a problem, like it's an addiction problem or an abuse problem, not just a recreational use, you get treatment and care.
Right. They help you.
Yeah.
Not, hey, you're going to go to prison.
It's all. Yeah. It's easier to go, hey, my friend's ODing.
Yeah.
Because
of
this.
Here's Narcan. Yes. Like help them and then get them to the hospital.
Right. We'll help them, because this is what we should do. We should help. I know marijuana is.
There's a bill up currently.
Well, yeah,
to make a medical marijuana legal.
Right. And I, however, will point to California right now. California has both medical and recreational now. However, California is taxing it so badly and handling it so badly that there's a new black market has started. So I can't afford to buy pot. If I did pot, I don't smoke pot, but if I wanted to buy it, it's cheaper for me to get on the black market than to buy it legally.
Which is where bad strains come from.
Which is the dumbest. It's like, look, you have the mechanism to make this work.
Yep.
You can tax it and make money. You don't have to make all the money.
No.
You can make some money. But there are pot dispensaries now. First of all, it's a cash only business because you can't put the money in the bank because the federal government can seize it.
Right.
And they will because they'll need a chunk of money. That's what they do. So you've got to keep a large amount of cash on hand and safes and stuff. And oh, it's stupid how this is done.
Yep.
They tax it so much that you can't make a profit. I was watching an interview this week about it from last year. But a guy made $11 million. His company made $11 million. After taxes and fees, he was $80,000 in debt.
Yeah,
from $11 million.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And so, how does he make it survive? He didn't say he did it, but he did mention that other people turned some of their supply to the black market so they can make a profit, so they can live.
Yep.
Right. When I say sounds about right, I mean sounds accurate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not justified or right. But
so,
I feel like
again,
I have to
I'm not a drug user.
Yeah, neither am I. Well, I like medications. But
I'm not
recreational drugs.
I'm not a Christian Scientist. I do the weirdest thing about Christian scientists, man. Jesus will fix everything. It's like, no, dear, take some Advil.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jesus made Advil.
Jesus made Advil. It'd be okay. Whatever. However, I believe a right that an adult should be able to do what they want.
Yeah.
Within certain legal limits, as long as it doesn't harm
other people.
people.
So
And if it's harmful to you, let's help you.
Right. Let's help you, not just punish you for
hurting yourself. Oh,
Right.
it's the dumbest stuff.
So
that's what my worry about. Like everyone's like, yeah, pot, which is fine, but we got to we have to do it responsibly.
Yeah.
And then we have to do it responsibly on both sides, from a grower distributor side, but also from a state taxation side.
Yeah.
Because again, they'll just see it as it's another
revenue stream.
Revenue stream for greed. And it's dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah. So I agree that drugs should be legal. I don't know how quickly we can get there. In
no,
this
absolutely.
State.
I don't think we really get in this country, but it's a big business.
Yeah. Well,
fighting drugs is a big business.
It ties back into the prison system, and that's so like if you go
that and the militarization of the police force.
Yeah. So if you go to my website, that's why the modern slavery piece is the big one,
right?
Because like everything
just ties back.
Everything ties into it. Like it's ridiculous.
Well,
it just like education, illegal drugs, job wages, like all of it is funneling through the prison system. And like, so that's, I don't know how much I can do right away. So like, that's why I want to focus on that. Cause if we can change that, I don't know what your word to use.
No,
but if we can change the prison system that we have, it will have long lasting and far reaching positive consequences. So that's why it's a big part of my my platform.
The biggest challenge of that though is convincing people that who are hurting, who want revenge.
Yes.
And have to understand that while this is a tragedy, there's a reason.
Yep.
And we have to be empathetic.
Right. So, and what I bring up to people is you were harmed and that sucks. What do you want to do about it? And, it's usually some type of, if it's heat of the moment, right? Something just happened. It's like, punish them. I'm like, okay, that is a justifiable response.
Absolutely.
Why do you want to punish them? Like, because I'm hurt. I'm like, okay, I agree. That doesn't help anything. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help if somebody was killed. Like, it doesn't help the person who's dead. It doesn't help the person who caused the issue.
Right.
No one is benefiting. None of those three parties
no.
are benefiting from sending somebody to prison and punishing them. Like, and then I try to redirect that thought to, do you want this to happen to somebody else? And the answer is typically no.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't want that to happen to my neighbor or whatever else. Okay, cool. Then we have to figure out how to stop it. And we've tried putting people in a box for 400 years.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we've tried this. It's not working.
Right.
Like we are doing nothing but putting more people in prison, and it's not helping.
Right.
So we have to try something else. Do I know what comes next is going to work? No, but we do know what we're doing now isn't.
Right.
So
there's gotta be
let's try something.
something. Got to
Yeah.
be something. Something's gotta
It's like, look, if you keep eating spaghetti and you keep throwing up afterwards,
Right.
at some point you have to try something else.
Mhm.
And you may not like Brussels sprouts, but it's not spaghetti.
What's the
It's a really weird analogy.
No, but what's the analogy that's attributed to Einstein that I don't know if he said it or not, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
yeah.
That's a sign.
Oh,
that's-
yeah, it's a sign of insanity.
It's a sign of insanity, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of those things in our country.
Right.
Why won't you do good?
Yeah.
I'm hitting you. You should be better.
Right.
That doesn't work that way.
Have I not hit you hard
Or
enough?
enough.
Yeah. No.
I keep
there's-
putting
you
keep putting
cannot-
you in prison. Why are you keep coming back?
You can't hit people hard enough to get them to stop being poor,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
the cause of
Most
most of the
of it.
people going into prison.
Yep.
Right.
It's petty crimes that have minimum sentencing standards. Thank you, 94 crime bill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that. Anyway,
Can I switch gears?
You can.
From crime and punishment
yes.
to something that's dear to my heart.
Yeah.
The lottery.
Okay.
And legalized gambling in the state.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts and feelings about those two issues? Because I'm bringing it up because I am Porch Creek Indian.
Yeah.
We have the Porch Creek Indians have done a few things. We have written bills over the last couple election cycles, to not election cycles, but legislation cycles to try to get gaming in this state. The Porch Creek would prefer, and as a member, I don't disagree, that we have exclusivity. We're trying to prevent mom and pop stuff coming into. We don't mind competition.
Sure,
competition's fair, but we want fair competition. So we build multi-million-dollar facilities.
Right.
We don't want to compete with a guy who gets $200 in a rental space and puts a couple machines.
Yep. Right.
It's the only fair after. And so the state's hurting and a lot in its pocketbooks, and we have offered to pay lots of times for exclusive rights.
Right.
Which I think it's fair because everyone gets something out of it. I get why people are kind of skeptical of that. But we've proven that we've got 3 properties in the state. We also have 2 properties in the Caribbean, 1 in Pennsylvania. We're about to have 1 in Chicago, outside of Chicago and Homewood. We know business.
Yeah,
we know this business. And how shady are we? I mean,
how shady are we?
Right? Yeah, how shady are we? Shady. Because that comes with the question. There's a lot of distrust about it. It's like because exclusivity comes with like, what's up? There's something shady about this. It's like, how shady are we? I was like, well, we're just being honest.
So,
but aside from the exclusivity, we're really curious about how you feel as a candidate
about the lottery in general,
a lottery in general, and legalized gaming in the state.
Yeah. So, my concern isn't. I have no problem with the lottery as a whole. Like, if that's how people want to spend money and we can use it as a revenue stream, that's great. My concern is finding a way to not put a revenue stream as a burden to the impoverished or people who are already impoverished.
Right.
So that's a concern of mine, where not necessarily your casinos, but the lotteries in other states are typically used by the impoverished as a way of hoping to earn a big chunk of money to get out.
I will say that I wholeheartedly agree. Lotteries typically have a clientele that have a lower income.
Right.
Bit of a predatory nature to it.
Almost predatory nature. Absolutely. Casinos a little different, especially in our area. And I'm not saying not just ours, but ours in Biloxi.
Right.
There is that clientele, but the clientele that keeps the revenue stream going is higher brackets.
Yeah. Okay.
For their entertainment dollar.
Gotcha.
So, but I won't disagree that we have some of those people.
You're not going to stop people from spending their money poorly. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't think that's my job to stop.
No.
But I don't want to.
Again, if you have to be adult enough to know what's your entertainment dollar and what's not your entertainment. So if you're trying to,
I didn't want to do was, I don't want to set up a system that. I don't want to say intentionally, but
no,
I don't want to set up a system that isn't considering the predatory nature of gambling.
Right.
Like that. So as long as we're doing our best to not put that burden of income on some of our poorer citizens, because that's already an issue.
Right.
Our average income level is not good. So that would be my only concern with implementing a statewide lottery of any kind,
right,
is making sure we aren't taking advantage of the already impoverished.
So my counter to that, which I agree, however, the states around us aren't doing that stuff.
They are.
And so
to counter your counter.
Yeah, please educate me.
If you are already impoverished, you are making those trips less often. So it's like, so if you could get one at the corner store, let's say it's the scratch off tickets, right? If you could get one at the corner store, you would do it more often than if you have to drive 2.5 hours out.
Okay, fair.
Right. So I'm not saying it doesn't already happen.
Right.
What I don't want to do is initiate a method of gambling that doesn't consider it. So if the thought that somebody brought up to me when we were having this discussion in I think a live stream somewhere is implementing a lottery of some type that is a longer payout scale. So instead of an instant gratification, it's more of some week-long, month-long. I don't gamble, so I don't know enough about what those options
progressive,
are.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're putting something in and it takes a month to pay out or whatever it is. I don't know the details. But that was the proposed potential solution to get away from the instant gratification where people are like, all right, I got $5 spare. Let me go and get a ticket. And it's like, you probably should have bought a loaf of bread instead. That's where I was going.
Well,
that was it.
But I think the person is going to spend the $5 on the lottery ticket, even if it's a delayed gratification. Like if they win, they win. But that's the endorphin. That's the endorphin.
Yes, but if it's a longer payout scale, it's not every day dropping money. That was the idea behind it. Again, I don't have a specific solution.
Right.
But that's what I would want to make sure we're thinking about.
I think lotteries for education are important, but I think lotteries for other things are important too. And I think as part of the plan, I think part of the solution though too is like if the lower income is people are going to spend for lottery, the profits from those lotteries, which are greater than the payouts, should benefit the citizenry in those communities.
Right.
And so in the long run, they're still helping, because at the end of the day, a lottery is a poor tax.
A lot of things are, but
a lottery is a voluntary poor tax.
Yep.
And I pay this for this because it's going to the state,
right?
And I'm not guaranteed anything out of it,
right?
I take that back. I'm guaranteed the endorphin hit I'm going to get from. You're getting the endorphin hit, and so because that's how it works. You get the endorphin hit. That's why it's addictive,
right?
But at least I know that dollar or whatever is going back into the community
if we
positively.
But so again, speaking generally, if we can guarantee that those funds go where they're supposed to,
right?
That sounds like a good solution to the concern I have.
All right, again, utopia.
yeah, right. So, we spent COVID money on prisons. So,
right. So that's lottery. What about legalized gaming?
Legalized gaming.
In the
so
state.
What would be the clarify the difference?
So a lottery. So they're separate things. So a lottery is a statewide system, much like Florida has or Mississippi has, where you can have buy tickets at your corner grocery store.
Okay.
Legalized gaming is
it's like slot machines and things.
Slot machines, table gaming and stuff like that, which require facilities.
Right. I don't have a huge issue with it, as long as we're putting that thought into who it could potentially affect negatively without putting thought into it.
Okay, I got you.
I think I said that twice in the same sentence, but
so you do care. You do have concerns. You're double negative there,
right? I care to not care that I don't care about. Yeah, so I want to make sure that we're not putting additional burdens on our already impoverished people. So
it's a big issue.
Yeah. So if it's the lottery and it goes into a fund that actually guarantees it goes back into our system to help out the already impoverished, like that on the surface level
Yeah.
as a candidate,
I mean,
without looking
I
at a
mean-
bill,
I mean-
that sounds like a
I mean,
logical
that-
way to do that.
I mean, I'll be honest. If that bill was written that way, it wouldn't pass.
Oh, no.
because no one wants to help anybody. But
Right.
So it's like you got to figure out like, well,
Let's
how we can put enough greed in it to make it
Yeah.
so we can get it. But it's
right. So maybe
frustrating.
Maybe that's where we put some trust in a group of people that have been here longer,
right,
to help out the citizens of this
Right?
state.
You would think so, but
Yeah, I am all about supporting any of the tribes in our state. I don't know how far we want to go down that route.
No, as far as you want to go. I mean, it's just like
I don't know how far I want to go down that route right now. Yeah, like so, our country has a very sordid history, and there are groups of people that were here before us who were doing fine,
absolutely,
and have ways of being in community that I think we could learn from.
I won't disagree.
So, if they have a way to handle a lottery or gaming that will help support the rest of the state while also giving people that endorphin rush and occasionally a payout, then let's talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know you don't have any direct connections currently, but
no, I have lots of.
you don't have the bat phone that goes.
No, I don't have the bat phone.
Goes straight to the top.
I can't. I bet I don't know. I could email the tribal chair. I mean, she knows me, and so. But I mean, we're not like besties.
Yeah.
But she's aware of my presence,
right?
And so I don't know. And like my family are close to members on the tribal council at Porch. So that's not a brag. It's just.
Yeah, no,
truth.
It's
truth.
A
I mean,
statement of fact.
The problem, but the advantage, the thing about that is that Porch is a small tribe, and so they all grew up together. So everybody knows each other.
Right.
This is how it works. It's just like we're all cousins.
Right.
For the most part, we're all cousins. I mean, it's funny. I joke about it all the time, but like I work at Wind Creek and Atmore. I work for corporate, and I'm related to probably like 75% of people there. And that, we employ hundreds of people. I'm related to a lot of them.
Yeah.
so it's just hey cousins. We're all second and third cousins. It's funny. So
yeah,
I love it. But I hope I think personally, I think exclusive gaming with the Porch is a safe bet because I think we've proven that we're good for the state.
Everything that I've seen your tribe do, because everything that I've seen publicly, right? 'Cause I don't know the inner workings, but the stuff you've done publicly, I like what you guys do,
right?
Like you're providing services, entertainment, and then also just giving back to the community.
Right.
So like we have OA, right, and that's a facility that generates revenue,
right?
But it's also entertainment value. The citizens can come have fun.
Right.
It brings in tourists,
right?
But then you guys also sponsor events and things that you're actually just trying to give back to the community.
Oh,
and it's stuff like that I'm like, yes.
Our charitable giving is incredible too, because I mean, the argument against Porch I hear a lot of times is because they don't pay taxes. Well, that's true. We don't pay taxes on the revenues because we're on our own land. However, that's not to say like if we had facilities elsewhere that would be the case. In Pennsylvania, we're it's not our land,
right?
And
so
so
you're paying taxes.
We're paying taxes.
Yeah.
So we're not against that too. But on the flip side, at the moment, we give a lot.
Yeah,
we give a lot to a lot of causes, and in fact, it's better in this way because we make sure that they get done.
Yeah,
and so there's some accountability to it, and so which you don't get from the state level, right? Especially. And I can say that because we all live in the lower part of the state,
right?
Which, I mean, I don't want to get on this tangent, but just to but the BP money,
right.
When we had the BP disaster,
right,
that affected directly our tourism. People I know, they lost a lot of money because they all went to the middle and top of the state. Who said, "Well, because we didn't get that tourism money, it affected us too." And I'm like, wait a minute, I get a little bit of that.
That's some,
some
trickle down economics,
right
there.
But you have to take all the money instead of a little bit. So it's like,
right,
it's.
Like, let's let it continue to flow the way it has been.
Right.
Let's start where it should have been, and then let it trickle to you.
And we sound like a bunch of socialists. Is what like we should have the money. Like, kinda. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind you having money. I don't mind wealthy people.
Right.
Wealthy, you work hard, you earn money, or if you're a child of wealth, I get it. Because if I had a kid and I was wealthy, I want them to have the best too.
Right.
I'm not. But however, how much is enough?
Yeah.
How much do you need?
So, you bring up wealth inheritance, and like the thing that I don't hear enough people talk about is like we talk about generational wealth building, and like everybody's like, yeah, generational wealth building, like give it to your kids, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what's the opposite of that? Like, that's generational debt,
Right.
like that's a thing too.
Right.
We have to be
aware of it.
We have to be cognizant of like this nation was, oh man, whatever. I don't care. This nation was built on slavery, like that.
Yep.
We have to admit that whether our state wants to teach kids that or not, our country was built on slavery. And like I saw a number proposed by somebody who says they did their history and their research. Take it with a grain of salt. I didn't verify it. Go look it up yourself. I'm not even sure how you would, because nobody wants to talk about it. But I hate saying it this way, but I'm going to say it anyway. The value of the property of slaves, not the wealth that they built with their labor, but the value of the slaves was like $8 billion then.
Right.
Not in today's dollars. And like, that's just the people that were counted as property.
Right.
Yep.
And like, so you have to consider not only could they not save money, but their value was transferred to the people that owned them. And like that built generational wealth and prevented other generations from building wealth.
Right.
And like we can't
generation debt because
we can't ignore that. So
Absolutely.
like, you know, do I think people should be able to earn a ton of money and have fun? Yes. But I also think that people shouldn't die because they don't have enough money because they literally were held back for 200, 400 years.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
We can't ignore that aspect.
Bootstraps.
Yeah, we can't ignore it.
I'm hearing it right now. I'm hearing it right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's in my soul.
They can yell bootstraps all they want.
But they're lying to themselves and they know it. That's the problem. They're lying to themselves and they know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also funny because a lot of these people who say that are also people that are also struggling too.
Right,
Yeah,
which is
there's-
weird.
There's a level of cognitive dissonance. Is
Right.
the right word, where it's like you don't realize that what I'm saying, I'm trying to benefit everyone
Everybody,
who is
yeah.
not doing well. And the vast majority of our country and our state is not doing well.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you're making $70,000 a year. That's not a lot of money.
No.
Like it is for somebody who's making $15,000 a year at minimum wage, or 18 or whatever it equates out to,
Yeah.
whatever. Sure, that is a large amount by comparison. But if you talk about, you know, being able to build a ship and go to space, $70,000 is pocket change. Like it's not a lot of money. Like, so like, I'm not talking when we talk about rich people, I don't know about
Because the 1% has, what is it? They last said 30% of the national wealth.
Hey,
I want to say it's global. You should look that up.
Yeah.
You have a
So-
device they're producing.
Well, I was trying to remember off the top of my head because
Yeah.
I've
Look
heard
at
it.
you. Look at you, Pete.
So
I'm proud of you.
the gap between what I'm saying is actual like rich.
Yeah.
Most people call it ultra rich. Like, sure, call it whatever you want, but I mean the people that literally don't have to worry about a thing. Like they, at some point, you literally cannot spend your money fast enough. Like I can't remember who it was. Somebody got money from a divorce. I want to say it was Bezos's wife.
Probably Bezos' wife.
When they got divorced, she got a large chunk of change. Like it for him, it was change, but for a regular human, it was a lot of money. And to her credit, it seems like she was trying to do philanthropic work and give it away and do all this good stuff. And she ended up with like double or triple the money a year later because it was building its own wealth.
Right.
Like, you can't get rid of it fast enough.
I don't want to
like
make that kind of money.
Yeah.
I need money to build some money.
So
at that point, you're like you're accumulating more money than you would ever spend. So like, why not help out the people who can't earn that money?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was close. The top 1% hold as of 2021, 32.1% of the wealth.
Is that global or national wealth?
That is national.
Okay.
U.S. wealth.
Yep.
And it is top 10% hold 69.8%.
Yeah.
And we are nobody that I know is in the top 10.
So do they give that cutoff for what that top 10% is?
Let's see.
Yeah, good to have a producer on hand.
Because I saw an illustration. I wish I had it. Like, it was a whole bunch of sheets of paper. The guy was like, "Hey, we're just going to talk about wealth distribution, right?" So he's like, "You and I are here, we're on the table. Like, I don't care if you make 70,000, 120,
Right.
doesn't matter. You're on the table. Kanye West is about here. And then he was like, Jeff Bezos is at my ceiling. He was like I don't care how much you make. Like, even if you're aiming for Kanye, like, sure, go for it. You're still, you are closer to being homeless at Kanye's level than you are to being Jeff Bezos. Like, you're just not there. And I don't think the vast majority of people understand that gap. Because I have a hard time fathoming that gap.
Absolutely.
Like, somebody used rice as an example.
Right.
So they took a grain of rice for every like $10,000 you could earn.
Right.
And they're like, hey, $30,000, 3 grains of rice. And they're like, $120,000, 120 grains of rice, or 12 grains of rice, whatever it was.
They kind of have
Math
a chart.
life.
Yeah, they have a chart. It's like in color, like to
Yeah.
signify each
But,
percent.
I mean-
I'll send that to you so we can like
inject it later.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I can sum it up. I built a rocket to go to space for fun. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else who can build a rocket. That's out of my.
The scary thought was that the amount of money that I think it's the top 1%, not one person, but the top 1% has, they could run our country for 8 months. Like, monetarily.
Right.
They could fund our country for 8 months. Like does everybody realize how much power that is? Like, that's
And that's 8 months if it doesn't generate its own funds, because it will.
right. That's literally just like,
So-
take the money, everything stops, and they can just fund it. They
For
can
8
fund the most powerful country in the world
for 8 months.
For 8 months.
But if they do, but the way it works is that they can do 8 months and they can keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's how they do it now.
Right. So, we're getting way off subject, but it's
That's
fine.
fine. Again, it's my show. I get to talk about what I want.
So the other part, somebody brought up Elon Musk and the fact that he put up, this is going to date the show a little bit, but he put up satellite internet for Ukraine.
I mean, this will date the show again, because if and when the election's this year,
That's November.
So when you're governor,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
So-
fair enough. So
I tell you what kind of says something next year or this year. I don't know.
yeah, in a bit.
I'll show.
So
Oh,
Elon Musk put up,
his Starlink.
Yeah, he used Starlink to put up internet in Ukraine, and everybody was like, "Whoa, go Elon!" And it's like, I mean, yeah, he was benefiting them. That's cool. Imagine if he had said no. Like, he would have cut off the communication that we're getting from Ukraine.
Right.
Yep.
Like, he has the power to influence a war.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
Like, it's
like
people don't realize how much, like,
absolutely,
how much they can influence
again, because at least Elon pulled a Tony Stark and helped everyone else.
Yeah, he could
have easily been like Luthor and went, no, that's not.
Yeah, why would we? No.
Well, no, Jeff Bezos is too busy being Luther.
I'm building rockets and trying to find Superman.
Or he could have put it. I mean, not that I don't know Elon Musk, but he could have put it over Russia.
Yeah,
and just like benefited them.
Right.
And who's to say he also hasn't and just hasn't said anything?
Yeah, that's getting to conspiracy level stuff.
I don't get too.
Well, but, I mean,
we
I
already mentioned lizard people. That might ruin his campaign anyway.
Little too far.
Yeah, but I mean,
possible, sure, likely. Not.
No, probably not.
Well, let me get us out of the weeds.
Please.
First of all, thank you so much for showing up and being my guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And how can people find you?
For my campaign.
Yes.
So if this is before November 8th of 2020, jaredalgov.org. So JaredAlgov.org is the campaign website.
And then after the election, you'll see him at the governor's mansion.
Yeah, you can find me
Alabama.
relaxing in the Alabama-shaped pool at the governor's mansion.
Do we have an Alabama-shaped pool?
Yep. Yes.
I remember we have this. I don't know what the status of the property is, but someone willed the state or the governorship itself property in Fort Morgan, and they couldn't do anything with it because of the way legal stuff, and so it became an eyesore and like
weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I gotta remember that story. I think they figured out funds to clean it up,
Right.
but like no one can stay there. It
Right.
was designed for it was like gift. It was some rich guy give as a gift to the state to use as like for functions and stuff, but no one wants to come to Fort Morgan for functions and stuff. So they're not.
It's
a weird.
It's way out of the way.
It's way out of the way. It's also kind of elitist. So it's like,
fair enough.
So while they are elitist, they don't like to be pointed out and told they're elitist.
Right.
And so when you go do that,
Yeah.
you can't go vacation with the family down there or hold events down there because it's like, but we have an Alabama shaped pool.
Yeah.
I gotta find pictures. Of
I
that.
already pulled it up. I already sent it to you.
Oh, sweet, good. We'll have that on the. I'll be like,
So more local to us because the mansion's in Montgomery.
Yep.
But, the USS Alabama.
Yep.
The trees are in the yard. Go look up at the satellite imagery. It's in the shape of Alabama.
Go on, see that? I get that.
It cracks me up. I was looking for. I was doing some drone work, and I was like, all right, let me map up the location and figure out where the limit is for the airports because it's right there at the battleship.
Right.
So if you stay on the outside of the battleship, you're outside of the perimeter. But I was looking, and I was like, wait, that's the state of Alabama. Like that plot of trees is the state of Alabama. It was weird shapes that you find looking from aerial views. But
I'm also going to say this to the listeners out there: if you are running for the governor, you're more than welcome to come on the show. I am a private institution, so I'm not. I don't have to.
Right.
But if I gave you time,
yeah,
if you're running for governor, come sit down. I'll talk to you too and ask you and talk about the same things I'm talking about, things that I care about, and I think some of our listeners and our watchers care about. But no one else is going to take me up on that.
Do you have a burp filter?
Do I have a burp filter?
Yeah.
No,
for Ivy.
Oh, I'll let her burp all she wants to. She grandma. You just let Nana do her thing.
Right.
Come on, Mima. And so, hey, Kay, you want to come on the show? You're more than welcome.
Come on down.
Come on down to the show. Hang out with us. We'll talk. Be like, what do you watch when you're like hanging out? When you're not doing anything? When you're here, just Tupperware sarcophagus. Now she's never coming in. I actually want the Linda. What's her face? Who's Blanchard, who was the ambassador, the ambassador to Slovenia.
She was going to run as she was running for Senate originally.
She was running for Senate originally, and then Mo
Brooks
was like, no, I'm running for that. Trump's supporting me on that. Trump will support you for your run for governor.
Right.
And that's how that happened. So the Republican Jesus said it was cool. So she switched from Senate to governorship. And so she got the Trump backings. That helps. I mean, people love Meemaw, though.
Yeah.
They do love some Meemaw.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you get in there. So, because you're my friend. Because no offense, I'd be like, my buddy's the governor. It's kind of cool to say.
I have several people.
I was like, he's not going to do anything for me because he's not that kind of guy. Because he's honestly, you're a solid dude. But I'm like,
I'll invite you to the pool.
Sweet. Going to the pool. We're going to do a podcast from the pool.
I have several people who are helping because they want to go to the pool.
The ultimate pool party.
What's that?
The ultimate pool party.
Yes.
The independent pool party.
We have to order. We have to order a giant mop float.
Yes.
Try to get,
even if it's just the head.
Right.
Yeah. Like just the head. That we can
try to hope we can get a satellite image.
Oh,
yes.
Man, that would be great.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm gonna do. Like when I have when I turn the studio into a compound, when I get more money and turn it, get all my dreams of a global media empire going.
Yeah.
I guess I want to bet trees or something in Mop's head. So
Yes.
from satellite issue, I wanted to do that.
Right.
So, dreams, man, dreams. Hey, look, I started from like a college radio station to a closet to this. So
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Hey,
we're getting there.
moving on up.
We're moving on up. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
It was fun.
It was. We should do this again.
We should anytime. You're welcome
Like
anytime.
November 9th.
Okay.
We'll do a follow-up and it'll go very well or it'll be a sad day.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think look, I think you should come back, especially if you make the ballot. But even if you don't, I mean, you're going through an experience that.
Oh no! If I make the ballot, we're doing this again anyway.
Right.
Like that's happening.
But I think both ways. You at least talk about this experience.
Yeah.
And again, I think you're doing. I think you're crazy, but I think that's wonderful.
You're not the only person to say it.
No, but it's honest. Like again, like I said at the
no.
beginning of this interview, who does this? And
Well,
it's like, Jared does this. And this
yeah.
one. And then honestly, when I was telling other people, like Steph and I talked about this, and Steph was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah," but it's Jared. She goes, "Yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah. It's to the point where I know that I would not forgive myself for trying.
Right.
Like it's I see that how bad it has gotten. I have been made aware of how bad it is. Let me phrase it that way. And now that I know better, I want to do better.
How does the family feel about it? You did say you talked to your wife and kids.
So I talked to my wife. And we have concerns because we have family here. We're involved with scouts and everything else. And like the scouts are supportive, but also like, hey, well, like if you go to Montgomery, like, what does that mean? It's like, well, I mean, that means you find a new Cub master. Like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't be. I don't know. You could
from Montgomery would be tough. It'd be tough from Montgomery. But I talked to them. The kids were super surprised. My oldest was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "You know, that we're gonna give it a shot." Alicia was supportive, but also, you know, she's understandably concerned.
Absolutely.
You know, and not about like well-being or anything, but just the mental toll of going from a project manager to potentially managing a state. So, but we're going to give it a shot.
I wish you all the luck.
We're going to be good Cub Scouts, and we're going to do our best.
I love it.
It's the Star Wars Imperial Troop Transporter that you put together. Batteries not included. Stormtrooper sold separately.
What's that? It's my troop transporter. It makes 5 more sounds, too. Where are you? There's the laser cannon, stun gun, and stormtrooper.
Did he say that?
Oh, Dad.
Star Wars Imperial Troop Transporter. Stormtrooper sold separately. New from Kenner.
That was a great interview.
It was a good interview. You know, he's an interesting fellow. I like how we say this, like we literally just didn't do like no one else knows this, but this is how the sausage is made because I want to be transparent with you guys. We shot Jared's interview a while back. We're shooting the intro and the outro together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just like how we ended the intro. We just started the outro, and you know we cut it. You didn't know that. Now you do. Magic.
The more you know.
The more you know. So yeah. So we had some fun with that. That was good. Like I said, you know, you learned some things about me, and I learned a lot about me, and learned. Again, it's crazy to me that he's running for governor, and I hope he gets it. So if you feel like supporting him, please do. I signed up to help him get on the ballot.
Yeah, also like if you're in the Alabama area and you want to support,
help the brother out.
Help sign that petition.
Help out the brother out. Definitely help that brother. Get that buddy on the ballot. Yeah. He can't be no worse than who we got now.
Yeah,
might be a lot better. At least I think so.
Yeah.
Though I do want to hang out at the Alabama Shape Pool. I won't lie. So there's that. You can rate and subscribe to us on any podcast app. You can visit us and continue to talk about Jared's political campaign on Facebook.com/Tuesdays with Scotty. I have so many shows. I'm trying to, get them all through. And of course on YouTube and YouTube.com/Mopcast Network. But this has been Tuesdays with Scotty. I'm Scotty. It's Tuesday. See us next Tuesday when we talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Until then, this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours.